Welcome to Sic'Em365 Radio.
Vital. Clears some space and knocks it down as he sent TJ Shannon flying.
Sic'Em365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
That's what kills you. Teague, you sniff, what a night. You pay. What a night for him.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Oh, a little step back. Beautiful on the score for Steed.
Here's David Smoke and Paul Catalina.
All right, here we go. It's a Monday afternoon in the early part of May. Hope you had a good weekend. Paul, did you enjoy the weekend, sir?
I did. I had to cook a lot of food. I was expected to entertain 4 people, and then it ballooned into 8 very rapidly.
That's always fun. Mm-hmm. The Baylor football team needs offensive linemen. That's not a surprise. Right? They need bodies. And I kind of learned by just listening to what Eric Mateos or Jeff Grimes or Dave Aranda or even other coaches, kind of what they were saying. I think they feel like at least more stable among the starting 5, whoever that might be, this year. The problem now is, of course, it's been this way now really since year 1 of Matt Rule, depth on the offensive line. Sometimes they haven't had 5. And then we know the story about they had 6 offensive linemen that were scholarship players, Rule's first year. And it got a little bit better the way they played the game. But they get a commitment from Bryce Simpson out of Cypress Ranch. That's a big boy school. And we'll have him today at 5. I spoke with his mother earlier today. Mm-hmm. You know, I like to get more than just, he's a good football player.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some good stuff with him, Paul. We'll have to have him.
I'm excited. I am excited to see what Jeff Grimes and Eric Mateos do with the offensive line, just because they're both offensive linemen.
Yes.
I mean, they are.
That's exactly right.
That was their stock in trade when they were playing, and the offensive line has been so bad in recent years, and I don't throw that word bad around lightly. It's been bad.
Was it bad in 19? Or was it manageable?
It was manageable. But they still, even as good as they weren't knocking people back as much as
it was complementary to what they had to do on offense.
And this goes back to the last season of Art Briles. He knew he had a depth problem in the offensive line coming with that team that had none of the stuff that happened would have been really, really good. But He knew he had a depth problem, and he wasn't so much concerned about 2016. He was concerned about 2017 because he knew he was going to have to kind of make something happen. So if you go back 5 years, this has been building to that time. And
it's like a credit card.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And so there's not a, it's not a renewable resource, offensive line. And so because it's not, you have to have guys that are truly versatile, which they tried to do last year, but then you move a guy a position because this guy's better at that position, but the guy you moved into the new position wasn't really that good at the other one, but he's still a better option than whoever you had. So it got really confusing and muddled for them, plus with the way that they had to do the offseason.
Yep.
The offensive linemen are the ones who are probably going to suffer the most. If you're fast, you can run fast for a second. I mean, I'm not trying to knock what wide receivers and running backs do, but if your whole thing is about being big and strong and building endurance to be a big, strong guy, and you don't have a normal offseason it's real easy for you to fall back into some things.
Well, they've been back. This has been an uphill climb. Mm-hmm. And if you have any slips, a guy misses, a guy leaves. Sam Houston State's playing for the national championship with 2 former Baylor offensive linemen. Now, that doesn't mean that they would have played for Baylor or been productive, but I got a feeling that maybe they might have Eliezer Anderson, Prince Pine, but they had their chance and they moved on, and now they're playing South Dakota State this weekend for a national title. And our good friend Eliezer Anderson will join us tomorrow to discuss the Bearcats. Do you know that they've won the last 9, and I just went completely ADHD. The last 9 national championships for the FCS has either been North Dakota State or James Madison. Of course, North Dakota State has 8 of those 9. Mm-hmm. They've beaten both of those teams the last 2 weeks. But the depth has been awful. It's been awful. It looked like they had turned the corner in 19, and then, of course, they've fallen right back into that trap. So we're going to have him on, and he's a big kid now. He's 6'6" something, whatever. And his mother told me, you're never too big. She's told him this. You're never too big for me to cut down your knees like a tree. Trees can be cut down. He said, Mom, my knees are how I'm going to make it, maybe as a football player at some point with college.
I think she's maybe meaning your emotional knees, your ego knees. Really? No,
knees.
Knees?
Like the ACL.
That's what I'm saying.
She's going to cut them off. She's going to cut them off of the knees. That's going to be today at 5 with Bryce Simpson. He'll join us live on his commitment to Baylor. Also, Baylor continues to transfer portal, look around at offensive linemen. They help with the depth there as well. Maybe, who knows, maybe pick up somebody else that helps them out. So Steve Rodriguez, Baylor baseball, they went nuts. They had a bad loss Saturday. They went nuts yesterday. 23 runs against K-State. 17 in 1 inning. He's going to join us here momentarily. Nicole Auerbach from theathletic.com and the national name, image, likeness updates with that. Did I see did Mark Emmert buckle a little bit? I asked Max Olson this on a text message. Did I hear that Mark Emmert may have buckled a little bit when it comes to NIL because states are starting to pass all this?
The way he said it was like, well, I'm going to make sure we get to it this year. Way to go.
7 years later or whatever it might be. Also today, John Gallagher. Yep, this is terrible. John Gallagher, the head coach at Hartford, who became a weekly guest of ours during Baylor's national championship run after they opened up with a win against Hartford. The neighborhood, remember him? And then last week, the story that the administration wants to turn them into Division III in athletics. John Gallagher will be live with us today at 4 o'clock. I didn't think he would be able to join us because what's he going to say? He's got a president and he got an administration and he got a board of regents. They're going to all try to stick together, the basketball program. We're going to get his emotions today at 4. Also, Jared Sandler on the Rangers at 4:30. 18-18 record. Paul Garcia, Adolis Garcia.
Yeah, Levi Weaver wrote a really interesting column about him in spring training about, there's been a couple teams that thought that he had potential, and if he reached his potential, then that would be something the Rangers could really kind of hang their head on. And thinking about this, they need somebody like that. If he can continue to do that,
you got to
down the line. And when Joey Gallo, in spite of how his season is going to go this year, or however that is, Joey Gallo's getting traded. He's their biggest trade chip, or maybe second biggest. If Kyle Gibson continues to pitch like he is, then they're going to be able to, for those two guys, get a lot of prospects back, and people can help their team down the line. But Adolis Garcia can step in and maybe fill that power void.
I don't know how long they're going to tread water because it's kind of like, you throw me in a pool, I could tread water for a little bit, and I knew if my life depended on it, I could tread water for a little bit longer. Eventually, I'm going under, right?
Well, they're 18-18 right now, right?
So. And they're playing well, and they had a dramatic win Saturday, 9-8, and Garcia threw out a runner at the plate. I mean, so they're kind of fun. We'll have Jared today at 4:30 and hoping to get John Daniels at some point this week. And then also John McClain cannot be with us tomorrow, so he's going to join us today at 5:30, Hall of Fame writer from the Houston Chronicle. Baylor baseball's game with Incarnate Word because of pending weather has been canceled tomorrow. Coming off 2 out of 3 against Kansas State, right now tucked in the number 4. Texas is a game back at TCU, winning 2 out of 3 in Fort Worth and obliterating the Frogs yesterday. They're a game back, and then you have Tech, and then you have Baylor. And Baylor, remember, did well in Lubbock and won 2 out of 3 against Texas Tech out in Lubbock. So that game tomorrow night, they'll have Oklahoma State for 3 games in Stillwater this weekend. Men's tennis into Orlando, they'll face Ole Miss. On Monday, a week from today, in the Sweet 16 or the round of 16, the women were knocked out by Duke. Also, Eric Fisher, remember him, got hurt? Really was a problem with the Super Bowl. The Patriots were all into Mahomes' business, has signed a contract to protect, they hope, Carson Wentz with the Indianapolis Colts. And then the story, Tim Tebow. Stephen Vaughn sent me this. You see my tweet to you earlier today?
No, I haven't been on Twitter today.
You're probably a smart man.
Let me see.
Yeah, go to your mentions, Paul. What does it say?
I mean,
what does it say?
It's got the meme. It's the meme. Paul Kelly even heard this news. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous that this guy keeps getting in the news. I don't understand it. I'll never understand it. I'm going to maybe have to come to grips with the fact that, like, Tim Tebow's a force of the media that cannot be stopped. There's nothing I can do. He's like a meteor. Like, I could try to, land some people on him like in Armageddon and blow him in half or whatever it is that they do. But it's not. The meteor's coming to Earth. There's nothing we can do. It's over.
He's 33. He has not played since 2012. He was 6 of 8 passing for the Jets. It's been over 3,000 days.
And he's going to play a new position. And I will tell you one thing that really fascinates me about in this story. Because this is not necessarily about Tim Tebow.
I really didn't want to talk about him that long. I just wanted to get you going.
But it is that Urban Meyer's ego knows no bounds. It has no borders. It is an ever-expanding nation. And Urban Meyer, who's been an NFL coach for all of 3 months, is saying, you know what? This 33-year-old guy who's never played this position before and has kind of small hands is going to be a damn good tight end for me, and I'm going to give him money to do it. I can do that because I am Urban Meyer, and nothing I've ever done is wrong.
What if this is just a little bit of rub-off on the culture of Tim Tebow in a locker room?
I don't think Tim Tebow's really that great in a professional locker room.
I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying maybe just kind of, but we'll see.
Look, and he's a Jacksonville native that's playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That is going to, there are going to be so many Tim Tebow Jacksonville jerseys.
Oh, my God.
They'll be able to buy a new team.
Yep. Well, they have a new owner, right?
No, it's still Shad Khan.
Oh, is it really? Okay. All right, so that's where we are. Steve Rodriguez will join us momentarily, but I just wanted to get Paul going early on today.
Get on call in, and while you can talk to Steven in Virginia.
Oh, it's interesting. He would just call in today.
Yeah, I know. Like, get on call in there, Armstrong. The connection dropped. Let's see what happened.
Let's see if Steven happens to just.
And then I'll call Steven.
And I promise you, this is not set up. I did not talk to Steven about this, about the meme that he's created with you. I just, I really didn't. But when he's ready, let me know, Armstrong, if we can get Steven on the air to come open it up. We'll have in a moment.
Yeah, call back, Steven.
Steven, call back. Well, in just a moment, we'll have Steve Rodriguez with Baylor join us on Sic'Em365 radio. There are so many strange notes. There was a tiger in Houston. There was this video. A guy had a pistol out. He's like apparently an officer in some way with a pickup truck parked in the street, and there was a tiger laying in the front yard of somebody just chilling like a cat. And it starts roaming around a little bit. Come to find out that this tiger was supposed to be inside this house. That's the guy in the white shirt. That's his house. He's like, I got this. And the guy, like, he's got his pistol almost drawn, like, you better get the tiger in the house. And then the next update of this story was, and this is as weird as it gets, the next update I see was somebody said that the people who lived in that house, who apparently had this tiger, maybe for trafficking or maybe they just like tigers, they bolted out of their driveway in a SUV or whatever it was, and gone, like avoiding, apparently, the police who were coming for them.
Well, it's not like, you have to have all kind of permits to have a tiger. I mean, it's not like getting a turtle.
You know what you need to have a tiger? You're fearless. Like, what if that tiger would have attacked a child on the street that day? I mean, there's so many things that could have happened. It could have been bad, but there's a lot of weird stories today to get to as well. Now, Armstrong Sim, Emma's here. Emma's from Riverside, California.
Yes, Riverside, California.
And she's here to help Armstrong. He struggled a little bit last week, and he needed a little bit of tutelage. It was his graduation on, Thursday or Friday. Jack graduated Saturday. Jack had a project that I thought was going to be due today, basically said, I'm not working today. That's what he told me.
I think Jack needs 24 hours.
Needs a lot of hydration.
Hydration, maybe like if somebody give him an IV. All right, we're going to save some time on Steven here and skip the screening. Steven, you're on Sic'Em365 Radio.
Hey, guys, you got me?
Yeah.
Yes.
First, I want to say that I feel the exact same way Paul Catalina does. You know, if I don't really have a lot of talent at what I do, and if people just gave me opportunities to continue playing professional sports at, professional sports that I didn't play in college or, positions that I haven't played since, Little League, Pee Wee football, I would make a lot of money. And I'm not, I love Jesus as much as Tim Tebow does, so I'm not really sure what the deal is. So, I'm with you, Paul. Like, I want to turn you into a meme, but I feel the same way.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's just frustrating. And I'm to the point of where it's now defeated me. It has defeated me. I've lost. I can't swim upstream anymore.
It's too powerful.
It is. I'm like, I'm not a salmon anymore. I'm a tuna. Right, I've got to go with the current and not against it.
Well, that's what we'll do. Let's go to Steve Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Let's get him going, and we'll be able to get off the Tim Tebow story. But, Steven, anything else, my man?
Oh, I just dropped it. Sorry.
Okay. Thanks for the call. All right. We'll have Steve Rodriguez, Baylor baseball coach, here momentarily as well. I can't wait to get to Bryce Simpson at 5 o'clock. His mom gave me some great stuff. He was an 8-pound, 14-ounce child. That's large, isn't it? Isn't that a little bit larger than what's the normal weight of a child? Like a mother delivering a baby.
I don't know the average. I know my brother was 10 pounds something.
What?
So.
Well, they had
10 pounds 2 hours.
He had to come out early.
Really?
Because they were worried about him like gaining bigger, and so they had to go. They had to deliver Bryce Simpson very early. We're now joined by Baylor baseball coach Steve Rodriguez. My goodness, what a weekend, winning 2 out of 3 against Kansas State and now Oklahoma State. Steve, let's start. First of all, thanks for your time. Let's start with tomorrow. That game with Incarnate Word has been postponed because of weather, impending weather. Your thoughts about, did you need that, or do you want to get just straight focused on Oklahoma State?
Well, it would have been nice to play another game. We played really well this past weekend, and it's always good to get as many looks as possible before you're going into another weekend. And rain's supposed to come in tonight, kind of pretty much last through Wednesday afternoon. And so, when you're dealing with the NCAA and countable hours and stuff like that, as coaches, you just try to respect other teams and kind of how they develop their days off and which days they can do. So we wanted to make sure that, if there was a chance we were going to play, we would definitely we would hold off on it if it was like kind of marginal weather, but just based off of what we're looking at and what our grounds people are kind of telling us, that it could get pretty ugly tomorrow.
Coach, what's been the key for you guys at home that you are so extra locked in this year when you're playing at Baylor Ballpark?
I'll tell you what, I think every team plays better at home. Obviously, you're comfortable with the surroundings. The sight line you're very comfortable with, which means, when you're hitting, you're comfortable with, and you're used to the background that's going to be behind a pitcher. Same with defense and stuff like that. So you're just very comfortable and used to it. And we play on a natural surface, which makes it great for us. And, so when we go to play on turf, nothing really changes for us in regards to how things bounce and stuff like that. But I just think every team, my thing is you should win at least 75% of your games at home. And our guys have done a really good job of that this year.
Steve, how proud were you that your team bounced back from what was probably a pretty big disappointment on Saturday, the way that went down with K-State, to just maul them on Sunday?
Well, I'm not going to take anything away from K-State. Kansas State came in. I think they had the most home runs in the country, they were third in home runs in the country. And I'm not going to take anything away from them. They just came out and they just hit the ball really well in that ninth inning. And for us, we thought we had a pretty good chance. We were facing one of the top pitchers in the country in Wicks, and when you have opportunities to score, and we did. We had guys on base with 2 outs, and we just couldn't get them in. And so that was frustrating along those lines. But the way we came back and scored 2 runs in the first inning, against another really good pitcher in Casey Ford. You're able to do that, and then you score another one, and you score another one, and then pretty soon the confidence starts to build, and our guys started feeling pretty good about themselves.
Yeah, it's not often you get 17 run innings, Steve, and you've been in baseball your whole life. But what can that do, not only for the confidence, but you need to relax a little bit during a season and have those kind of innings. Don't you, to have those times where just everybody can kind of let loose and let's go?
17 runs in an inning was a new one for me. Have not seen that. I've seen some big innings that were a ton of runs in them, but nothing like that. But it was great to see. I think there was like two of our guys in the lineup who had 3 at-bats at that inning. And so it was just a unique experience. Even Pete Hughes, the Kansas State coach, we were talking. He goes, "I don't think I've ever seen anything like that." And I said, "Yeah, well, we gave up 11 runs one inning last year on opening day. And so I've seen something pretty close to it, but nothing like that."
All right, so where do you think you are when it comes to the tournament? I know your RPI is in the 30s. Where do you feel like you are right now? What else do you think you need to get done, or do you feel like you guys are locked into the tournament?
I think we're pretty close. I do. I think we're pretty close just in regards to if they want to go based off of RPI. I know they say they're not really using RPI, but I think it has to come into play a little bit. Just conference records and stuff like that. I think we've done well playing against really good teams, and we're playing well late, which is always good. I never like to hey, we're in, we're not no big deal. I mean, the key is you want to continue to play well, and you want to continue to win, and remember what it's like to win and how hard it is to win and what it takes to win. So regardless of where we are right now, we need to continue doing that over the next couple of weeks.
Your team can really rake. I mean, you really can. I mean, you're hitting all year has been that way. What was the turn for you? Was it just getting the guys in there that can do that, the Jareds and Andy and all those that can really hit? Because they had a couple years where they just were not hitting the ball like they were before you got here. What was the turn of the key to get it to where you have a lot of guys over 300?
I'll tell you what. I think it's really about education. I needed to learn a lot. We have all sorts of technology that we utilize with our guys, and we will take them individually and take them in the cage and really break down their swing with a lot of the different technology and kind of go step by step with them and let them know, our job is to develop a very well-balanced, well-rounded swing, and then your job is to make sure you get a good pitch and you lay this good swing on it. Because regardless, if you don't swing at strikes and you swing at balls out of the zone, I don't care how good your swing is, it's going to be irrelevant. And so, just educating the kids on some of the things that we know, taking a lot of the technology, simplifying it down to where the small things that they can really focus on is what they focus on. There's a lot of information that comes out of this technology that can just boggle your mind, and we don't want to do that to them. We just want them to focus on the small things that we know will really help their swing develop and just become better.
I know that Texas had a nice weekend in Fort Worth, winning 2 out of 3. Zach Zubia was named the Offensive Player of the Week as far as Player of the Week in the conference. Andy Thomas, though, we got this today from Zach. He was named the Collegiate Baseball National Player of the Week. And what a weekend he had. And just how good, Steve, is he and what he means to your team?
No, and when you have a player like Andy Thomas who came back for his last year because he wanted, to go out like how he wanted, just like he's doing. He wanted to come out and kind of leave it all here so he doesn't have anything to regret in the future, like, oh, I didn't do that or I wanted to do this. And he's not doing that. He wants to catch every game. He is loving every minute of it. He's having the success on the field and off the field, and he's helping these younger pitchers, and he's leading this team just as we had hoped he would. In regards to, the awards and stuff like that, I can agree to disagree with, who votes for those things. But Andy Thomas just had a phenomenal weekend this weekend. And, when you have career weekends like that, it's pretty impressive.
So you are right now just ahead of Oklahoma State and Oklahoma in the Big 12 standings as far as the number 4 seed overall. And you're not far away from being 3 because of what's going on with Texas Tech. And you had a nice weekend against them anyway. How much does that play into what happens these next 2 weeks with Oklahoma State and Oklahoma? You have the 2 teams right behind you, and you even have a chance. Sometimes people worry about who can catch you, but you yourself have a chance to maybe finish up in 3rd.
I mean, the higher you can finish, obviously, the better for lots of different reasons. And for us, the big thing is just to make sure that we stay healthy. We continue to go out and play great baseball. And that's what I've been liking about what I see from our guys right now is, there's not a lot of, everybody likes to look ahead, but, truthfully, we need to worry about Friday now, make sure our guys are healthy, make sure they're ready to go. We're going up to a brand new stadium up there in Oklahoma State, and, they're going to have a lot of fans there. So we just got to go out and we got to play well.
Steve, thank you very much, man. What a weekend, huh? So you've never had a 17-run inning. What the hell? I mean, that's apparently that's not that difficult.
Well, what's funny is I had a game against Tulane when I was at Pepperdine where we won 30-22. We had 40-mile-an-hour winds blowing straight out, and it was one of those games where I just never thought it was going to end, just because outs were at a premium. You just could not get them. And we ended up scoring 9 runs in the bottom of the 8th, and they scored 8 runs in the top of the 9th. And every out, if you got an out, you were celebrating because you just didn't know if you were going to be able to get one. Any ball hit had a chance to do just about anything.
Wow.
And so it was one of those crazy days. But, the fact that we won that game, I think there were a lot of 8 and 9 run innings in that game, but not 17, no.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Steve. Thank you very much. Steve Rodriguez, Baylor baseball head coach, with us on Sic'Em365 radio. They win 2 out of 3 against Kansas State. Texas won 2 out of 3 in Fort Worth, and they hammered the Frogs yesterday. And Schlossnagle was pretty obvious after the game. He was like, this is embarrassing. We have a chance to wrap up the conference at our home park, and we get shelled. Now, Texas is really good. Both of them are College World Series good, it appears. But so that happened over the weekend. Tech was off over the weekend. And now Oklahoma State, Baylor this weekend in Stillwater starting, in fact, I guess that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
I wonder if the new ballpark in Stillwater plays like the old one did.
Like home run crazy?
Yeah, home run crazy. I mean, and it was,
I don't know,
kind of like Texas's park does at a certain time of the year, the wind changes, and then all of a
Texas
sudden.
Texas Tech? You're talking about
at UT.
Dish Falk Field.
Dish Falk, yeah. The wind changes, and it does that same thing at Oklahoma State where, look, Pete Incaviglia hit a billion home runs that one year.
Traber, wasn't Traber?
Oh, yeah, they're just, yeah.
So Oklahoma State's RPI, and again, Steve mentioned that this doesn't mean everything, but it doesn't hurt. They're 20th overall. Texas has the 3rd, TCU 5th, Texas Tech 9th. And so that's and Baylor at 33 right now after winning 2 out of 3 against Kansas State. When we come back, Nicole Auerbach, I was on yesterday a couple of times talking to Max Olson. I said, hey, who is your go-to person for the name, image, likeness stuff? We've had Ross Dellinger on to talk about it. We've had others. And he said, Nicole Auerbach or Andy Staples. So I contacted Nicole. She's been on with us a couple of different times. She will join us in the next segment to discuss, is there movement with some of these states saying we're going to do this? And how does it affect Mark Emmert? And what is the next move? We'll have that with Nicole Auerbach from theathletic.com next on Sic'Em365 radio. Man, I had twice over the weekend I cooked a ribeye. One was a bone-in ribeye, and then last night was a regular. The bone-in ribeye, what I did is I seared it on a flat iron skillet, and then I put it in a crock pot with potatoes and carrots, and I just let it all day long in the crock pot. It was absolutely just delicious. I had to make sure I took that bone out when I went to go eat the soup or whatever you want to call it, the stew. And then last night, I was talking to Taylor Bryan of Baylor Athletic Communications about this. I had this cast iron skillet. I seared it, and I reverse seared it because I then put it in the oven. You've heard about now how you can cook. It was as perfect as it could possibly be. Both of those steaks that I get, or I used, or I ate, or I cooked, were from Waco Custom Marketplace. And thanks to Brian Bauer and his great staff, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco. If you want custom cut steaks that you want a specific thickness, bone-in or regular ribeye, bacon wrapped fillets that are this thick, and I mean they're perfect. You could use them as a steak, or you could have them if you want to use for stir fry or something else. They'll cut them for you. You let them know, go pick them up. And remember, by 6 o'clock Wednesdays, order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish at $4.25 a pound. and pick it up by Friday after 2 or sometime on Saturday. Order by 6 Wednesday for live crawfish so you can have the boil you want, whether it's a pound or sack, or 2 or 3 for your live crawfish boil. Plus the bakery every day, fresh baked bread, kolaches, and much more, plus also seafood, pork, and poultry. It's Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed, smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. And a long distance meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line.
Alan Samuels is celebrating Jeep Freedom Days. It's an exciting time for the Jeep Cherokee and the Grand Cherokee. Built tough as nails and able to stand up to any challenging off-road trails or city roads, travel with innovative technology to meet your lifestyle. Jeep, a great SUV. Alan Samuels, the award-winning customer service Central Texas dealer, the best place to get your next SUV. Located at 201 West Loop 340 or visit them online at alansamuelsdcj.com. Alan Samuels is your friend in the car business.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Parenting is full of surprises.
You never know what to expect.
So after our son was born, I called my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent to set up a life insurance policy in case something happened to me.
Sawyer is now 2.
And we'll soon have a sister. There's no one else I would trust with protecting my family.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McClain County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Welcome back to Sic'Em365 Radio.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on Sic'Em365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
All right, here we go, 3:33. We've had Nicole Auerbach on before, theathletic.com, to discuss a lot of things NCAA, and now there's more states more involved in this name, image, and likeness. And Nicole Auerbach joins us from theathletic.com on Sic'Em365 Radio, Paul Catalina and David Smoke. Nicole, do I hear or do I feel as if Mark Emmert is starting to buckle a little bit or not?
I mean, honestly, I don't think it's that different than it's been, the last few months. I mean, he's certainly changed his tune in general from even as late as 2019 when he was saying, like, NIL was this existential threat to college athletics. I mean, he's had to change his tune on this really because he's been forced to.
How much of this, I mean, because sometimes you hear the arguments against it, and none of them were really the ones I didn't hear were, well, boosters can just give these kids anything, because that's kind of already going on anyway without name, image, and likeness. But it was more like, well, this will take money away from the university, or this will do this. And none of it made any sense given the fact that, it could be money that was never even coming to the university in the first place. How much of, the NCAA's reticence to this was just a complete misunderstanding of what the real issue was?
Well, I think that some of it is that, and some of that's on purpose, right? I mean, they want to set up this idea that, this is a slippery slope. It'll eventually lead to athletes being employees, and we don't want to get to that point. That's really complicated, employer-employee relationships. But I think that ultimately, they didn't want to be proactive on this, even though there were a lot of administrators and some coaches who I think would have been fine, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever, really kind of diving into this issue and getting out in front of it before, kind of just relying on Congress to ultimately save the day. I just think that, it was this idea of a slippery slope, this idea of, just the fundamental way that the system was set up and put in place was not paying athletes anything beyond a scholarship. So if you think about it, we even had these same conversations about those cost of attendance stipends, which basically filled the gap between what anyone else who got like an academic scholarship was getting for their room and board and what they were getting to go to college and live there. And, people use kind of the same arguments, right? They just didn't like the idea of money being associated with athletes. And so I think some of it's on purpose. And I do think some of it was just this idea that maybe if you continue to fight these things in courts and try to strike down like the O'Bannon lawsuit and the Alston case and things like that, maybe you don't have to get to this point. But I think there were enough people in the world that were smart enough, say 5 years ago, to see where the winds were turning on this. And really, they could have been proactive if they really wanted to. And instead, we're less than 2 months out from July 1st when all these, a handful of these states have laws to take effect to pay athletes on, their endorsements and their sponsorships. And it's really just become a really terrible look, a mess. And really, no matter how this is going to shape up, it's going to be pretty chaotic, even if the NCAA does pass legislation. So it's not just, say, 7 states operating in a world that the other 43 don't.
Yeah, I was going to say, the recruiting advantages, of course, are obvious in that particular case. So in the end, what's the timeline on federal NIL legislation? Is that like around the corner? Is that something that they're going to kick the can as well? You have these states making decisions, and the NCAA, right, Nicole, they're not going to do anything until they have to as far as their own legislation. So which is going to happen?
Well, I think we don't quite know the timeline on the federal bill. Obviously Congress has a lot of other things going on. They still need to figure out which bill or, some sort of, kind of bundling of bills that will kind of get the support, because right now there's a handful of them floating around. So that needs to be determined and then eventually go through the legislative process. That will eventually be the end goal for all of this, because at that point you'll have a federal law. It'll be the same in all 50 states. But right now, we're obviously heading towards July 1st when you have states like Florida and Georgia and all these places, set to take effect. So the NCAA is going to have to pass its version, its NCAA rules, changing this for the other 40-something states because of what you just said, like the recruiting imbalance, just a sense of fairness. So the rules won't be exactly what like the Florida law says, but they'll be close enough that I think everyone will live with whatever minor differences there are, because that would be better than having nothing and a couple of states allowing something that nobody else can. So that's ultimately what's going to happen. That starts with the Division I Council, but the Division I Board of Directors also have to approve it. That just needs to happen basically by the time students enroll back in school in August. So we're in a time crunch, but there's also time to have the meetings that they need to pass that. But federal legislation, I don't know. I mean, I think the goal or the hope for a lot of people right now is maybe, by the end of this calendar year. But there's really no telling. I mean, there's just so many other things that, congressional folks have to deal with that I don't know, if we know exactly, all this money in the NCAA has spent lobbying Congress, ultimately get to the point of, kind of coalescing around a bill and voting for it. But I don't know if, throwing a lot of money and lobbying efforts and visiting folks in D.C. means that, like, the next time they're in session, they'll vote on this day one. We just really don't know how long it's going to take.
Why does the NCAA have to wait for there to be an actual flood to check if they have sandbags? I mean,
they don't. They didn't need to wait, this close until these state laws take effect. I mean, the reason that we're even having this conversation is because California passed its law and proposed its bill, and that kind of got the whole ball rolling here. So, yeah, I mean, they didn't have to be so reactive. They could have been proactive on this, but they weren't. And if you really want to get technical, this all really started with the O'Bannon lawsuit a little over a decade ago. All of this has forced their hands. And, as we know, the NCAA is a very slow-moving entity because it has all of the members and all the schools. This is just how things happen, right? Like, they don't make changes unless they absolutely are forced to.
Nicole Auerbach with us, Sic'Em365 Radio. She's from theathletic.com. Are you getting a kick out of this, Bob Baffert? I know it's serious stuff, but did you hear the story about? So somebody, peed on a haystack or something like that, right? Isn't that right, yes. Nicole? What did he say?
That's what I saw. And then, the horse was exposed to whatever was in that person's system. And I mean, it is just, I was getting a huge kick out of this. I mean, there's nothing really better than like a Monday morning news cycle when you've got, a horse, like alleging that a horse was canceled because of cancel culture. And then, somebody's peeing in the haystack and that impacted, whether or not this horse tested positive for something. I mean, it's just been incredible. I kind of hope Bob Baffert keeps talking about this and that the scandal stretches on.
To be fair, I follow that horse on Twitter, and he's really out there on his political views.
He's nuts. I mean, I didn't realize that
he tweeted out all horses matter. I thought that was unnecessary.
No. I did not realize that Baffert had this stretch of a bunch of positive tests with his horses. I didn't even know that. I guess I wasn't.
Yeah.
He wears sunglasses inside. Yeah. Like, you can't. You got to wonder about a guy.
I have to be honest, though. I don't know about Nicole, how many other sports fans. I watch the Derby, the Preakness, the Belmont, and if somebody wins the first, then I watch the second. That doesn't mean I don't watch it on occasion, but, and we finally had that decades-long stretch broken, so I probably have not been paying attention enough. But this is one of those things that, like, taints him, right, forever?
I mean, it should. Someone who follows this stuff a lot more closer than I did, like, compared it to Lance Armstrong, right?
Yep.
Like, it was, over a period of time, a number of races. But I'm like you. I mean, I only really pay attention for what? It's a cumulative, 6 minutes per year if you watch those 3 races. So I don't really know myself, but, I'm always here for, a sport that I don't follow having a scandal because I just think it's more entertaining that way, which is probably how people feel about college football scandals who don't live in that space. But yeah, I feel like this is entertaining. It's also really crossing over into the mainstream, which I do think, once Lance Armstrong did, that was kind of the beginning of the end, right? And how people would associate him with doping, right? So I do think it feels like it's shifted because I am with you. I don't really remember this coming into the mainstream in the past when he's had horses test positive.
So your thoughts, one more thing, Nicole, on so Alabama gets a linebacker who's pretty good in the transfer portal. Isn't it supposed to work the other way around where guys are leaving some of the other schools and going to some that need the help? Is it now the rich just getting richer?
Well, it's going to happen both ways. So I feel like this is a good reminder of that because, you are going to have what some coaches have kind of talked about in a very fearful way, which is this idea of, Alabama's just going to pluck the best players from other rosters or, you could think of okay, the best math player of the year could go to, whatever top group of 5 program. And I think obviously in this circumstance, you had a coaching change and you had some other factors, but those will be there every year. So I do think you are going to see it in that direction. I also think you're going to see it the way that you were just referencing where someone's not getting playing time at a place like Alabama and they do want to go somewhere and they want to start. So I think we're going to see it flow both ways. I think it's going to be probably more high profile in this direction because, you're looking at it, you're like, oh my gosh, Alabama, when will they get a break, right? Like, I mean, and I think, but in reality, you will have it both ways. You will have impactful players. I mean, like Fresno State was a really good example of that last year, and there will be quarterbacks that go up and down based on playing time. And but I do think you can't argue that Alabama is not going to benefit from this, or the Georgia is not going to benefit, or Texas or wherever, because they are. Mm-hmm. And it's the same as regular recruiting, right? It's the facilities, the coaches, it's all of those things. Playing time is the one difference. Knowing what you're walking into or not. But I do think the rich are going to get richer, which is what some coaches have said. But the Group of Five programs and the FCS programs, they're also going to get richer at some point too. It's really going to go both ways. And I think the ultimate sense of fairness about the movement and not having to sit out overwhelms the concerns that I have about the top SEC programs getting the best players from other places.
Nicole, thank you very much. We bounced around a little bit more than just name, image, likeness. We appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Have a great week.
Absolutely. Enjoy the next twists and turns of the Baffert.
Yeah, this is crazy. Okay, that's Nicole Auerbach, theathletic.com. Covers college football. Does a great job with name, image, likeness, and other things as well.
We had Bob Baffert at the Super Bowl.
Yes, we did. Listen, the guy's got a bunch of, he's won a ton of derbies and other things. I don't know. Here's always the question I have when you see something like this. It always now, okay, how long has this been going on? Is it true? Okay, the allegations do seem to be, there's a little stretch here now, the last year or so, where he's had a lot of horses test positive. The excuse about a guy having something in his system, peeing on a stack of hay, and then the horse eating the hay, and that by itself makes me want to puke. And that's how he got whatever this was in his system, is just crap. I just can't even imagine that. It's so stupid, it makes sense.
To show up in in a horse's system through his digestive tract.
Well, I mean if the horse ate,
what did the guy? My question is, it's gone through your one guy's system and then a horse's system. Like, what did that guy have?
Yeah, no,
he would show up on a horse.
He was loaded. He was loaded. He had to be loaded. It's crazy.
Is it Jose Canseco in 1993?
No, yes. He's loaded. So, and there was a picture, an image of the horse, of whatever it's called.
Medina Spirit.
And it's a picture of a horse, and it's a built-up, big old, muscular, massive horse. Because Secretariat's always been the biggest horse ever, just because of its size. But this one had the fake muscles, he's like the who's the guy in Marvel Comics? The one that's
the Hulk?
Yeah, him. Not Hulk Hogan,
but the Hulk.
But the Hulk.
The Incredible Hulk.
The Incredible Hulk. All right. Crazy stuff. All right, when we come back, a couple other stories to get to. I'm trying to find out on the text that we have in the chat on YouTube. Marshall and Scott both put up I don't know what time those were. Do you know how do we find out? Because I don't see a time of whether I should respond to them.
There's no way to see a time, but they were pretty early on.
Okay, on the show or today?
Early in the show.
Okay, so Scott, I sure hope Baylor football can get a transfer or two at the offensive line, or get one grad transfer. And the JUCO or a JUCO guy, they're working on an offensive line transfer. I'm telling you, they might be spending every moment of every day trying to find that person. The problem is, guess what everybody else was looking for?
That.
Offensive lineman, right? I told Paul last night that Baylor got a commitment. We're going to have Bryce Simpson at 5. And I said, hey, they got a commitment from Bryce Simpson. And what was your text to me?
I said, if they signed 20 offensive linemen in the class, I would only think that was slight overkill.
Yeah, because of where they have been on the offensive line. Then Marshall, maybe he'd be an okay Taysom Hill. No on Tebow. No on that. He's not going to be Taysom Hill. No. Taysom Hill is an athlete Tim Tebow used to be. And I know he can still run circles around me. He's 33, has not played in 3,000 plus days. No, I'm not. I just saved you some energy. When we come back, we wrap up this 3 o'clock hour. You are.
That's it. I can't.
Wrap up the 3 o'clock hour. Also, a couple of things to get to in the 4. Jared Sandler right now is a little iffy on whether we're going to have him on based on an interview he has to do with Coach Woodward for his manager, Scott Woodward, based on his pregame show. This is Sic'Em. Chris Woodward, excuse me. Sic'Em. He's I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Don't want to go there. Don't want to get into LSU. This is Sic'Em365 Radio. PettyClinicLowT.com. Dr. Kent Petty. Sic'Em365 Radio. Dr. Kent Petty will come back with more. He's one of our title sponsors. You see him on the image behind us. Sic'Em365 Radio.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
For qualified buyer with $4,000 down at 2.9% TTNL extra. See deal for details. Travel is back, and so are the savings at the Memorial Day Savings Event at Richard Carr. Hit the road in a 2016 Buick Encore for only $152 a month, a 2016 GMC Sierra for only $318 a month, a 2018 Mercedes GLA for $334 a month, or a 2015 GMC Terrain for only $135 a month. 100% credit approval is always our goal. It's the Memorial Day Savings Event going on now at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
This is Sic'Em365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The Sic'Em365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
Man, I hate this news. You know, I think I was a junior or senior in college when ESPN began. And, of course, a lot of things have changed. And there were times when I just stopped watching a lot of ESPN. Didn't like a lot of the programming. Didn't like a lot of what they were covering. Didn't like a lot of what they were trying to shove down my throat at times. And that's just me. A lot of maybe more people watched them. But their numbers dropped dramatically. And they got to be this huge fat cat And of course, then they went through the attrition, the Chris Bermans, and some of them, it was time for them to move on, and a lot of them had made millions, and they could do it themselves. Kenny Mayne is leaving.
Yeah, I'm bummed about that.
Kenny Mayne.
I don't like that there's an organization that's going to pay Stephen A. Smith $8 million and not have money in the budget for Kenny Mayne. And that's just my personal opinion.
Their glory years might have been the first, even with George Grand, Tom Mees, Bob Lee, Chris Berman and others, because they were so innocent, and it was like nobody had ever seen this before. It was amazing. And the way they did this draft, and they really, they were like us being at a tailgate, like a bunch of guys or whoever, sports fans, guys and girls just sitting at a party talking sports. That's how they covered it. Then they became an 800-pound gorilla. But Kenny Mayne's one of those that I would watch a Sports Center, and I've always been kind of the get off my lawn, old man type of sports, tell the sports, whatever, and I've changed a little bit, I guess, I don't know, on that. But Kenny Mayne was somebody, if he was doing Sports Center, I would watch it because he was going to make me laugh. There may not have ever been, and I don't like Keith Olbermann maybe at all, but when he and Dan Patrick were doing Sports Centers, Stuart Scott, among others, and Kenny Mayne, and that was their peak. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much the timelines, but he's leaving. It says right here, salary cap casualty. He's a 7-figure guy, so don't feel sorry for him. He's made a lot of money, and somebody will pick him up. He has to do a show. He's capable of doing a podcast or something. He'll be just fine. One of the responses from Mike Golick, another salary cap guy, we're getting to a point of being able to start our own new network with former ESPN employees that were shown the door. Loved our time together as teammates, Kenny. Hope our paths cross soon. Yeah, and he's right about that.
Yeah, no, he's always, and we've had him on many, many times on our show, and he's great every single time. He's hilarious every single time. He was there. I mean, he got to witness the Roger Staubach interception story we like to tell so much.
Yes, in the amputee game, the Wounded Warrior amputee flag football game. You're exactly right. He did a cut-in for us one time, or did a promo for us one time, when he said, whenever I'm driving through Central Texas, of course I'm listening to the radio station, because what else would I do? He always had a way of making things funny. Here's a random tennis note for Scotty B. Armstrong, I'm going to let you do this. Name among the top 100, the highest, you don't have to name the name because I wouldn't be able to, the highest ranked United States tennis player. Where is he ranked in the world rankings of top 0 to 100? American tennis player.
I'm going to say maybe like 37.
31.
31, okay.
Guy named Taylor Fritz. Never heard of him.
I've heard of him.
Okay. Well, but here's my age of Connors and McEnroe and all those names that were just Agassi, Sampras, right? All those. Courier. The United States, for the first time in nearly a half a century, does not have somebody ranked in the ATP's top 30.
So did he just fall out of it recently?
He just fell out. He slid one place to 31 after losing in the first round of the Madrid Masters. There are 10 players from the United States in the top 100. But nobody ranked higher than 31st. First time since.
That's crazy.
Like when Andy Roddick was the last one to be ranked number 1 in the world for 13 weeks in 03 and 04. Did you know? I didn't know this. And again, this is so Novak Djokovic, right? Has been number 1 now for 320 consecutive weeks.
That's crazy.
320 overall weeks, excuse me.
Oh, okay.
10 times more than even Roger Federer, as long as Federer has dominated the sport. Did you know that, Paul?
No.
I didn't know. But then again, tell me the last great American tennis player that had any sticking power.
I mean, the last really good one was Andy Roddick.
And I don't even think of him as great.
No, I don't. Like, he's not. I mean, he won. How many majors did he win? One?
I don't know.
I think he won 1 or 2.
I don't know.
I mean, it's not many, Armstrong, with Andy Roddick. And then because before Andy Roddick, I mean, we had a great run in the 80s and 90s. You know,
he had one major.
Yeah. And they're called Grand Slams, right?
Oh, Grand Slam, sorry, yeah.
But it's the same difference.
But yeah, Grand Slam. So, I mean, we had Sampras and Agassi and Courier and then before that, you know, you went through it, but like McEnroe and
Connors
was great. We had a great run. But
all right, one more thing. And Armstrong sent me to this. Bryson DeChambeau.
Oh, my God.
So on Friday.
Don't do that to me.
On Friday, did you hear what he did?
I'd rather talk about Taylor Fritz.
I know. It sounds like a singer. So on Friday, DeChambeau finishes up his second round, thinks he misses the cut, flies back to Dallas, and these guys aren't getting like where we fly or how. Flies back to Dallas, finds out he made the cut. He's in Dallas. He gets on a jet, a private jet, of course. Mm-hmm. The next morning, arrives in Charlotte at 6. He gets on a jet at 2:45 in the morning, arrives in Charlotte like at 6:30 or so, gets to the course, basically doesn't get to warm up, and he ends up making the top 10 this weekend at the Wells Fargo Championship, where Rory McIlroy won the championship. He was in Dallas that evening, had to fly back later on. That is the power of having a lot of money, getting on your own private jet and getting there. When we come back, sad story about Hartford basketball. They're not done with Division I basketball, but it's about to be where they're no longer a part of the NCAA tournament. And we're going to talk to a great friend of ours, and John Gallagher, the neighborhood. Remember, for many, many times he joined us to talk Baylor basketball, including before they met them to open the tournament. And John Gallagher of Hartford basketball is next on Sic'Em365 Radio. Earlier I mentioned Dr. Kent Petty. Right now, are you interested in trying to feel better as a man? And I'm talking to men right now. As you get older, there's certain things that just don't feel the same. Certain things that don't work the same. Certain things that happen as you get older, including your testosterone levels start to drop. And what does testosterone do? Energy, sex drive, and really a lot of other things, including sleep. If you have problems with any of those symptoms, 1 out of every 3 men do. Contact Dr. Kent Petty by going to pettycliniclowt.com, get an appointment, get the lab work, blood work, get your testosterone levels checked, and Dr. Petty, if they're too low, will put you in a program to help increase your testosterone levels, to help with the other symptoms you might deal with as you get older and as your testosterone level drops. Not all of you, just 2 out of 3 are fine. But 1 out of every 3 men, testosterone drops as you get older, and eventually other things don't work the same as either. It's part of life. Nothing wrong with admitting it. pettycliniclowt.com.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. it's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel & Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel & Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel & Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Sic'Em365 Radio.
Kickoff from your own 20. Team that scores the 2 points gets it right back, and there goes Ebner. Tristan Ebner in a foot race. Can he do it again? Yes, he can. His second kickoff return for a touchdown tonight. His 4th overall.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house. Here's David Smoke and Paul Catalina.
All right, here we go. This 4 o'clock hour. We start the 4 o'clock hour with one of our favorite people ever, John Gallagher, head basketball coach for the Hartford Hawks. The last time we talked with him, Baylor was on the verge of winning the national title, and even afterwards they had won it, and he joined us many times from the time Hartford opened up against Baylor to start the NCAA tournament to win. They beat Gonzaga to win it all. And, John, I got to start with this, man. First of all, it's great to see your face. Great to have you on the show. But I was like, how do I start this segment? What the hell's going on in Hartford?
Well, before we get to Hartford, let's talk about the parade. I mean, did you enjoy it? I mean, first off, congratulations to you guys, to Coach Drew. I mean, what a run. What a run. And, forget about me for a second. You know how happy I was for, Scott Drew now becomes, him and Jim Calhoun, the 2 greatest program builders in the history of college basketball. Mm-hmm. And I'm really happy for you, Smokey, Paul, and just the whole crew because, I fell in love with you guys. I fell in love with the school. And, damn, I didn't know much about Waco or the area, but I'm a big fan.
Well, we did the same with you, man. The message boards, all of the people who listen to the segments, watched our segments, they love you. Appreciated all the input you gave us, the insight, because you hit it on the head. You saw that after you met, you had a little sliver there in that opening game, and then you saw them take off after that. So, and Craig's off today, and he sends his highs as well, hellos as well. John, when did you know this was coming with the administration?
So, here's what happens. The Baylor game ends. I go back to my room. My ops guy says to me, look, the flight, we have to get out tonight because of COVID. They want everybody out. Our flight leaves in 2.5 hours. I put in the JW, I put the shower on. I went to the fridge. I cracked a beer. I poured the beer, and I got a phone call by somebody within the university that's a friend. Said, look, Division III. And then I got a call from a couple coaches. By the way, that beer is still sitting there. I never even sipped it.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't even get in. I took a quick shower, but I packed and my mind started racing. So I didn't even get to enjoy it. I have a lot of thoughts on it, but really I came to, when the announcement happened Thursday night, I put a message out there that I sat down and I met with the team and I said, look, probably have 7 guys that can play at a high level. All right, we have 2 really good transfers coming in. And I met with everybody. I said, what do you want to do here? I can't convince you to stay. But I'm staying because I had a couple opportunities to roll out. And I know I'm crazy, like you may understand, but I don't leave a neighborhood when it's at its weakest point. That's just not how this guy rolls. It's not how my dad raised me. My dad was a crane operator for General Electric before he became a lawyer. He worked the night shift from 12 at night to 8 in the morning. And when he went for the 9 interviews at the top 9 Philadelphia law firms, he wore his crane outfit. Okay? He wore his crane outfit because he wanted them to know that they were going to get a crane operator at heart. And I wanted my players to know that they were getting a guy that wasn't leaving the boat. Okay, we're not. So everyone stayed committed. And everyone is in. And this is going to be the best team that we ever have here. And we're going to be right there for an NCAA tournament bid again. And my point to you is, through this tough time, I still think we're going to be Division I. I still think something good's going to come of it. But like guys like me, or I'm not running. I'm not ducking. One of my best friends died at 40, and he used to have this line when he walked in the casino. Okay, he'd say, "Don't blink, don't blink." Okay, and I thought about him. His name was Mark Quinlan, and we used to call him Quinny, and it was "Don't blink, Quinny." All right, and I'm telling you, we didn't blink, and when all the players came back, and look, I cried Friday morning. I had tears running down my face Friday morning, and my college coach called me, Phil Martelli, and he's now an associate head coach at Michigan, and Phil had a great line. He said, a politician, John Lewis's line was, "I'm tired of looking at things why they happen to me, and I start to look at why they happen for me." And for some reason, this is going to be great for us. And we start practice May 17th, our first practice, and we got one last ride together, and we are going to make this the funnest year ever.
I believe you.
Yeah, you kind of seem that you got that major league when they find out the owner is working against them. Like, there's only one thing to do, right? That's all you can do right now, right? It's just go win. You want me to live with resentment? I don't live in that world. That's a dark room in a bad house. Okay? It's a dark room in a bad house. And, this is going to be, I told the players, this is going to be one of the funnest years of my life. I'm going to coach like you wouldn't. I'm going to coach my brains out. You come into practice Monday, May 17th, it's going to have the intensity of a March practice. So, look, we're not blinking and we're not ducking.
John, you mentioned a couple of transfers. They're coming, right? You had mentioned that to us, I think 2 or 3, 4 weeks ago, that you had from people coming in, and they're also they're ready to they stay committed to you, correct?
They stayed committed.
That's awesome.
And I'll never forget these kids because the transfer portal's hot and heavy right now.
Good Lord, it's crazy.
And I want to say this, like, I'm about to get another commitment here, and the kid that's committed to me is an elite shooter. And I said to my staff, like, we've had the greatest run of the last 4 years in the history of the school, and usually this is where people want to springboard the program. Mm-hmm. And for whatever the reason, it didn't happen. Okay. I'm enjoying putting this team out there this year. We're going to play Duke at Duke. We're trying to get it 3 or 4 more high major games. And Smokey, I'm I don't know if you can tell. I was down in the dumps. I'm totally flipped. I got the juice. I got the energy. We got 320 days with this group, and it's going to be so much fun.
You know, the next time I feel down, I'm going to watch this interview and listen to every word you've said, because anyone else who's having a bad day or thinks they're having a bad day needs to also listen to you because of what you're saying. Has there been any concern? And I saw some of the feedback immediately. There's people talking about the budget and money. A lot of people are like, hey, how can we help? Is there any concern about administration at all? I mean, you're good with them. Everything they understand. You're going to stick with this right now. Everything good with that?
I haven't talked to anybody.
Yeah. Now, I want to go back to that. Did you ever? Is it true what Scott Van Pelt said on SportsCenter one night when he does that late show? You never received any kind of congratulatory or great job text from the administration?
No.
Not even like you're going to the tournament. Not you won the conference tournament. Not you made us proud. None of that.
You know, the athletic director did. She's been wonderful.
Sure.
She's been wonderful. No. I didn't hear from anybody. But look, it is what it is. You know, I come from a neighborhood outside of Philly called Delco, and when you try to figure other people out, there's a great line Fran Dunphy, the old coach at Temple and Penn, used to say, my job's not to figure out what you're thinking. My job's not to figure out what they're thinking, man.
So
you're such a breath of fresh air.
Now you mentioned, Coach, a couple of high major games. Now, have you guys reached out to maybe come visit us here at the 254?
Yeah. What do we need to do?
Well, what do we need to do to make this happen?
Actually, let's do it. Let's get Scott. Let's do it. I want to come down, have dinner with you guys, bring the ball club down.
Oh yeah.
And see my favorite crew down there. I'm serious. If you can get the game, I'm playing it.
Well, okay. I'm going to put it on. I'm going to call Mac Rhodes and the AD and Scott, and I don't have any idea what the schedule looks like. And I thought that why not? And I know that that's not going to be enough. That's some money for you to come down, but. Oh man!
Well, it'll be a fun couple days. I'll just tell you that right now.
One of the things you got to realize about coaching, and this is put it to it. I used to work with a guy named Fran O'Hanlon. He's a legend. 26 years at Lafayette College, still there. When I was a young assistant, and he had a great line to me. He said, coaching, you have to be able to lie down with pain, like it's a bed, and you have to be able to sleep with it. And then when you get up in the morning, you got to attack the pain. At the end of the day, this is painful. I'm not sitting here saying it's not painful. I'm just saying the way I was raised, the youngest of 53 first cousins, all Irish Catholic from Philly. Pain is a friend. I don't look at it as an enemy. Adversity is a friend. I don't look at it as an enemy. There's going to be something good happens. I could have rolled out, could have went to another Division I school and took the players. But what would that say to the neighborhood that I've been trying to create? How about all of the donors? How about the CEO of Hartford Healthcare, 34,000 employees? He bet on our program 4 years ago. You want me to call Jeff Flax up, the CEO, and say, hey, Jeff, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I'm not built like that. Now I can look myself in the mirror and said, look, I gave this neighborhood everything I had. Everything I had. Every ounce of sweat, tear, blood, everything. I've given it to this university.
53 first cousin. How many of them are also named John? I'm Italian Catholic, so I know this. I don't know if we're at 53, but we're in the mid 30s.
So my mom's the youngest of 12. John's, there's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, that's not too bad.
6.
From Scott, I love the Hartford coach. From Brandon, awesome dude, and of course we love you as well. For those who may not quite understand what happened late last week, the administration at Hartford, this had been simmering, voted to eventually make a transition from Division I down into Division III. John Gallagher and his team met. They said, we're not going anywhere. We're going to take this head on. It's not an immediate transition, but you know it has to affect some things immediately. How has the neighborhood responded in supporting you since the announcement?
Unbelievable. It's fascinating. So the one of the most successful businessmen in the country is a guy named Alan Lazowski from Laz Parking, L-A-Z. It's the largest valet parking company in the world, and their headquarters are in Hartford. Alan Lazowski, Laz, started his first valet spot in 1981. Now he has New York City, everywhere. Okay. Alan Lazowski is like all about the neighborhood, and he reached out, and he's called me every day. The CEO of Hartford Healthcare. You got all the union boss of the fire department, Jason Diaz, the Hartford Fire Department. The head of the Boys and Girls Club. I mean, the biggest car dealership in the state of Connecticut, Brad Hoffman. Brad is like incensed at how he can keep us Division I. And look, that's not my fight. My fight is to make sure we stay a championship team this year. The powers that be above me, I don't live in that world. That's something that, I'll speak to you guys about after next year. Is I don't live in that world. That's a foreign world to me.
You are amazing. You really are. I didn't know.
It's not me. It's my faith. It's my faith.
Well, that too, but you all the stories, all the people you've brought up, all the different type of people you brought up, from what your dad and the crane operator and all the things. I've learned something just listening to you, and we all could learn something listening to you as well. I didn't know I reached out. I texted you a couple of times. You and I shared a couple of different texts, but I wasn't sure if you could come on. And my God, when Sarah sent a note to me earlier today, hey, do you have 4 o'clock available? We made it available because we wanted to hear from you. Just wanted to see you, say hi to you, hope you're doing well. And I'll get that contract from Baylor to you sometime here in the next 24 hours for a non-conference game, by the way.
I love it. And I want you to know that you guys are in the neighborhood. You're a part of the neighborhood. And I'm going to send you some T-shirts down with the neighborhood on the back. And at the end of the day, the neighborhood's about living for others. And we have a line that says, it's not about you. This world's not about you. And the players that have stuck by me right now and by the neighborhood have really look, I was choked up Friday when they said we're in. I mean, that sure. I walked out of that room and I was like, man, this is we won the title. It was an unbelievable feeling. There was no better feeling than walking out of a room Friday afternoon and your team saying, let's run it back. Let's defend the title. Yeah, you're 1-0 off of that. Also, Diane, by the way, on our text line, congratulations to Coach's daughter. Posted that she'd won big for the neighborhood. She won a state title in the balance beam. Is that right? She won the state title in the balance beam, comes home, it gives me a kiss and says, Dad, I did it for the neighborhood. Oh, I actually got choked up when she said it. Dad, I did it for the neighborhood. Man, you're a great friend of ours. You're a great friend of the show. You're a great friend of Baylor athletics and fans. And we will always invite you on this show. And if, in fact, somehow Paul and I muscle up on Mac Rhodes and Scott Drew, I cannot wait. We don't have a JW Marriott, but hell, there's so many hotels going up in Waco. We might have one by next year. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's. They can all crash at my place. Yeah, you can stay with us. The heck with that. All your players. I'll take the couch. Yeah. John, thank you for who you are. And seriously, what a run. And I'm so proud of your players for sticking with it as well. And the men coming in, the incoming recruits and commits and transfers, whatever else. God bless you, man. Stay who you are. Don't ever change, okay? I appreciate you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Yes, sir. That's John Gallagher. He is he's part of we're a part of his neighborhood. He's a part of ours. I do think, like somebody put up,
I can't wait for 4 o'clock to hear from him.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
I could learn so many things from him. So many things from him. Anyone that listened to that can learn so many things from John Gallagher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that was it. I'm always entertained. I'm always educated. It's great. And, you think about walking into a room where, all 9 of those guys could have been like, look, we got to go, coach. And
there's a transfer portal.
What could he have said?
Nothing.
I mean, even like, all right, I get it.
If half of them would have said, we're staying, 4 would have said, we're transferring, you can't argue with him.
But
right?
yeah, but I mean, like he could have, because you don't know what you're walking into in the room
it's a movie.
At all.
It's a movie.
Yeah.
I don't know, because winning their conference is hard. It's not like just something that they dominate that. It's hard. Remember when we had, oh my goodness, I forgot who it was. It might have been Seth Greenberg telling us about how their conference is hard, and the seeding that they got against the number 1 seed was kind of screwed up, that they shouldn't have been a 16th seed, but maybe a 13th or 14th seed. And remember, for about 10 or 12 minutes against Baylor, they were scratching and clawing. We were watching the game right here. Paul was panicking. I was sitting there going, no, they're going to be fine. Man,
Armstrong, can you confirm or deny that accusation that Paul was panicking?
8 minutes left in the first half. You guys were like pulling your hair out. I said they're going to be fine.
I remember it the other way around.
So do I.
So Armstrong's last show. Emma's here to take his place.
Hope you learned a lot here, Emma.
Hey, we're going to have Jared Sandler, but he's got to push it back to after, in between Bryce Simpson and John McClain, because of the interview he has to do for the pregame show. Rangers, by the way, open a series tonight against the NL West National League best record San Francisco Giants. We'll have Jared on at 5:20. When we come back, all sorts of other just like off-the-cuff stories to bring to you. 254-339-1122. That number's open. We'd love to hear from you. Also, the text line, YouTube chat room on Sic'Em365.com in the premium section. And let's just be real here. Your thoughts about John Gallagher. Call us, text us, chat, whatever, at 254-339-1122, Sic'Em365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street. I'm due to stop by there and see Steve, because they've got the new Balcones single barrel released. And they've got a really, this one, the last one was a single malt, which, just one barrel, aged all that time. This one has been aged in 3 different barrels. 5 years and 3 months, American oak barrel for 2 years, then an Oloroso sherry cask for a year and a half, then into a Four Roses barrel to finish. 100% Golden Promise malted barley and Simpson malt from the UK, 121.4 proof, and oh my gosh, it's I can't wait to try it. And you can get that only at Riverbend Liquor and Wine. So that single barrel only at Riverbend Liquor and Wine. They got with some people and had them pick out casks and for themselves or barrels for themselves. So that one single barrel just at Riverbend Liquor and Wine until it's gone, and then that's it. You can't ever get that singular taste again. That's one of the cool things about whiskey. But look, if you're a craft beer fan, Riverbend Liquor and Wine. If you're a fan of wines and need a good variety, if you have somebody who's a wine aficionado in your house, it's a great place to go. Great selection of pretty much everything you can imagine, plus great customer service. Easy to access drive-through window where you just go through. It's super fast, and you get what you want. And believe me, the staff knows everything about that building and everything that's in it, exactly where it is, and exactly the feet, inches you might be standing away from it in the store. That's how well trained the staff at Riverbend Liquor and Wine is. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Pay for qualified buyer with 4,000 down to 2.9% TTNL extra. See deal for details. Travel is back, and so are the savings at the Memorial Day Savings Event at Richard Carr. Save $5,900 on 2021 Buick Encore. Drive off in the affordable luxury Buick Encore for as little as $258 a month. Or vacation in the spacious comfort of a 3-row Buick Enclave and save $8,500. 100% credit approval is always our goal. It's the Memorial Day Savings Event going on now at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwood Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Welcome back to Sic'Em365 Radio.
The Sic'Em365 radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
All right. A lot of you responding to John Gallagher. Scotty, hopefully Hartford men's basketball has the best year ever. Program history can make it back to the tournament. John Gallagher, to me, showed his loyalty to the program when things and times are tough, and he has taken it in stride as he should and make whatever you can of it.
All right. I want Jason Fort Worth sent us this question on the text line, and I think we should pose this to the audience.
Man.
There's going to be an inspirational sports movie made about the Hartford Hawks someday. Who plays Coach Gallagher? So I'm going to do. Should I pepper the water here or no?
No.
Okay.
Let's see if we can. Do you have anybody? Because Armstrong, I'm not a movie guy. Although I just talked about watching the movie The Little Things with Denzel, and I'm so. Who's the other guy? The black-headed cop.
Rami Malek.
Who's the other person who was supposedly the killer?
Jared Leto.
Okay. All right.
There's a lot of Oscars in that movie.
No, they are.
And none of them. It's not one they should ever write home about.
I'm just telling you right now, I don't watch a lot of movies, and so I dove into that one because it's Denzel, and now I may not watch one for a while because I'm so confused on that.
Yeah,
we don't need to get into it.
I'll just tell you, even Randy Johnson
it's kind of like the ending of The Sopranos.
Yeah. I disagree with you on the ending of Sopranos, but I understand that it's unfulfilling. But I can go into that later. But the way I look at it with guys like Denzel, not every, Randy Johnson doesn't strike out 12 guys every time he goes up to the mound. Sometimes you get batted around the yard. And that, not all, like, he's got like The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. The 2 movies he did on trains weren't very good.
What am I hearing?
As drilling just started for coming from next door. Okay, the person that popped in my head to play John Gallagher, you want me to say?
Mm-hmm.
It was Matt Damon for some reason.
Yeah.
Although I don't know why. Although Matt Damon doesn't necessarily seem like a very joyful person. His characters are always like super intense.
Yeah. Have you ever seen The Informant? He was pretty joyful in that one, but he was kind of an idiot.
I have seen that, yeah.
Yeah.
That is good, Matt Damon. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I keep waiting for a drill to come through the wall
Yeah, this
here.
drilling next door.
That's next door?
I think so, yeah. I think they're doing construction in the...
Okay. That's like a... That's going to be... I'm going to be hearing that the rest of the day.
Yeah. It's not consistency. If you get a consistent sound that doesn't go away, then it's fine because then you can kind of adjust to it. But when it's intermittent like that, you just keep...
Yeah, I'm frustrating. I'm kind of whacked out on that.
I'm going to sue.
Armstrong, did I send you the email? I have to ask you this because you didn't respond to anything over the weekend about the guy who saved somebody from a train.
Oh, I don't think so.
Okay. Brandon Baer, who is a former defensive end.
A train?
Yeah. Let's see who this who is this on to. This might just be a pure story on ESPN. Former defensive end Brandon Baer saved a man from a flaming semi-truck minutes after it had been struck by a train. He was driving down Highway 20 in St. Anthony, Idaho, on Thursday when he saw a train plow into a semi-truck. Now, that normally means you're gone. Triggered an immediate explosion. He called 911, and then for whatever in the world, the kind of man this guy is, he heard a voice inside the truck when it came to rest. And normally when a train hits a truck, it goes forever down the track.
Yeah, there you go. You got it, Armstrong.
There it is. You see the legs, which is a live human being. That's 25-year-old Steven Jensen. Baer climbed halfway into the truck, pulled him out of the truck through the rear window between the passenger seat and the driver's seat and got him out of the way. And I don't know if this guy has other damages or not. He obviously has some burns somewhere. We walked away within seconds. The fire on the roof fell down inside the truck. The entire seat and cab went into flames, and a few minutes later, a couple of big booms and explosions. Jensen was airlifted to an area hospital in Idaho, stable condition as of Friday. That's nuts. Could you do that? Is that instinct? Either you do it or you don't.
You do it or you don't. I don't know. Like, I'd like to think that I would, but again, he's risking his own life too. The truck's on fire.
Yeah, absolutely. Also from the 254, how about having Scott Drew and John Gallagher together? Having that game in Waco would be a great game. It would be a hard game. That'd be a hell of a game. Hartford's going to be loaded up again next year. Baylor took care of them.
They have, Smokey, I know that you don't watch movies, but I mentioned Major League, and it really reminds me of the plot of Major League is they bring this ragtag group of players together, and then the owner has brought them together so they would lose enough to where they could break the stadium lease and she could move the team. Well, when they find out about this, they decide there's only one thing left to do, and that's win the whole bleeping thing. That's kind of like what Hartford's doing right now. What else can they do?
No.
What else can you do?
No.
Go do it. And then that moment, galvanizes the team. They go on and, the city of Cleveland gets behind them and all that. So.
Yeah, this is going to be at some point, if they're successful and if they happen to win the conference next year, or even if they get to be, like, let's say they're 20-8 or 22-8, they get to the conference tournament final, win or not, this has got to be something that eventually is an E.
Yeah.
Is it a 30 for 30? Right? It's got to be at some point. It has to be. John Gallagher was amazing. Brandon, think we should go up there for a game, have them sell out the XL Center, Baylor team rolls out of the tunnel with neighborhood. Oh my God! If they ended up playing, which again, Scott Drew and Mac Roach are not going to listen to me on this one. If they were to play at the Farrell Center, the team comes out. Baylor comes out of the tunnel at the Farrell Center with the neighborhood T-shirts, hashtag the neighborhood on them.
Yeah,
and that's something Scott would do if, in fact, it ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of great responses. Even Hartford softball blacked out their school name on the jerseys over the weekend. I had seen that. They were playing over the weekend after the decision. They taped over the name.
Well, and to go all the way to Division III and decide that the reason your school is losing money in sports scholarships is, it's something that's been built in forever. Like, I know these are tough times, and modern higher education has to adapt or die, but that's just drastic.
I saw some stories, and again, you don't know where they're coming from because I don't know all the writers up there as far as the current and whatever, but there were 2 or 3 stories blowing holes in what the administration was saying, how much they would save. Now, they'll save money. They're going to save some money.
But they also have taken away a ton of income opportunity.
Yeah, and in a lot of places, I'm going to say this. Had it not been for Hartford playing Baylor in the opening round of the NCAA tournament, it's not that I had never heard of Hartford, but I hadn't heard from them or heard about them in a long time. That opened, what did they say? That's the front door to your university or college, right?
Yeah.
Your campus. And so, I don't know. I'm not sure what's going to happen there, but it sounds like, I'll tell you what stunned me about John Gallagher. One is his attitude's amazing. How all the names of the people who he's telling stories about stories they told him or stories involving them. Mm-hmm. From a car dealership to a guy that owns a valet company to the guy that runs the biggest car. It's just, he's crazy. Crazy good. He needs to go on the circuit and be a speaker.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to do that.
Yeah.
He would be great. He would be absolutely fantastic at that. All right, 4:40 is the time. When we come back, a couple more notes. We'll also at 5 o'clock, Bryce Simpson, Cypress Ranch High School, committed to Baylor yesterday evening. Grayson was all in that business as far as had the article up. He and Brian Etheridge knew all about what was going on with Bryce Simpson. Then we'll have Jared Sandler on the Rangers, and then also John McClain. Michael Jordan, an old, game-worn North Carolina Tar Heels jersey sold. What's going on with the collectibles business? We've had Brent Bakeston on. Craig's been going through things he's got. You've been going through a lot of things you have. Hell, if I had something, I'd go through whatever I had when it comes to collectibles. It's nuts how much things are being sold for, and that's next on Sic'Em365 Radio. Ideal MRI. IdealMRI.com, Dr. Rob Maxey and his partners have put together a business that is going to save you, not might, will save you hundreds of dollars, maybe thousands of dollars, if you need a muscle, a ligament, or something within your body that is painful, that hurts so bad. I've had rotator cuff surgery before on my right shoulder. My left rotator cuff is pretty much shot too, but it's not painful. It's just a little bit weak at times, and on occasion there's a little maybe arthritis or tendonitis. But I had rotator cuff because everything was shot at my right shoulder. And eventually they knew that, well, for a lot of reasons, because it hurt, but also eventually there was an MRI that said, here's the evidence, this muscle, like 7 things were gone, like snapped. So if you have something that hurts you, and I couldn't sleep well at night, if you have something that hurts you and you need an MRI, if your doctor says, hey, we need to get a look at your ligament, your knee, your shoulder, something, and you are told you need an MRI to find out what the evidence says, you need to tell your doctor. Tell them Ideal MRI. In the Central Texas Marketplace off of I-35 in the southern part of Waco, right there on Loop 340 and Highway 6 as it goes west. Ideal MRI is in the Central Texas Marketplace, and guess what? They have a state-of-the-art technology MRI machine to help find exactly what is hurting you, enough to where you can't function, you can't sleep, it hurts. And so if your doctor wants an MRI, you tell them about Ideal MRI. $497 or less every single time. Not $497, then $853. It's $497 or less every single time, and I said less on occasion too. They'll help you with the insurance. They'll help you get set up. You go online at idealmri.com.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Alan Samuels is holding the Ram Spotlight Sales Event on the new 2021 Ram Lone Star Crew Cab trucks at Alan Samuels. The three-peat Motor Trend Truck of the Year is built to serve. This truck is perfect for whatever your lifestyle calls for. Impressive towing, high-strength steel frame, and the smoothest, most comfortable ride of any truck. Alan Samuels, located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco. Come see the Ram Lone Star Crew Cab. The Ram Spotlight Sales Event won't last long. Visit Alan Samuels today or online at AlanSamuelsDCJ.com.
Come by, let's be friends.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beet potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasoning, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Welcome back to Sic'Em365 Radio. Are you a Sic'Em365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at Sic'Em365.com.
You know what, Scotty B, amazing, along with many of you, but Scotty B, appreciate all the information. You know, he's the one that reminded me about the softball team and blacked out the name Hartford over their jerseys this weekend because they were upset. John Gallagher, that is up, right? Armstrong will have that up, the segment with John Gallagher, head coach at Hartford, and all of how he's handling a lot of things that are, of course, not going well at all with his program. Paul, I just got a direct message to me for you from the Bet Us Sportsbook and Casino.
Yeah, I've already reached out and set up a meeting.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Can you tell them that I'm not your secretary?
Do you know how many people over the years I've had to tell that to about you?
No, never.
Oh, my God. Look, I'll just say, based on the last place we worked, where's Smokey? I don't know. We don't live together. We're not, I'm not his secretary and I'm not his wife. I've said that many times.
So you really didn't want to tell him about me and you?
No, yeah, I said that. I'm not. So we don't live together. When we leave, very rarely, when we leave at 6 p.m., do we cross paths again?
There was always somebody in that building. Hey, where's Paul?
Yeah, where's Smokey? I don't know.
Yeah.
I felt that we should just put little trackers on us.
Yes, or ankle bracelets.
Here he is. He is en route to here. Oh, look, he stopped. Is that maybe he's getting gasoline?
From Paula, I was talking about how John Gallagher has to be among the favorites ever. I know, right? I couldn't wait for Sic'Em365 to post it, so I wanted to wait to listen to him live. Man, and you know what? I think he would come on with us every week if we asked him to. I really do think he might do that. Michael Jordan. I'm curious, how many of you are in collectibles? And I'm not talking about that Bitcoin or whatever the hell that is, because I still don't quite understand that. It's hard enough for me to understand the Dow Jones and stock market. But I'll let Edward Jones and our great sponsors do that. How many of you are in something collectibles? Now, Craig has over the years collected many things, from figurines, whatever, from athletes of whatever sport. And there's other things as well. And he's got some baseball cards. Paul, when we first started doing the show 13 months ago, you had 10 million cards spread out everywhere. And I used to collect cards. I don't have anything that I think that I collect. I don't know. That I can think of okay, I have that collection just randomly. I think maybe if anything else, I've gotten away from that. But something's going on. Brent talked about this. And I think it was the COVID, where collectibles are nuts right now.
You know what? And I was kind of...
How many of you, are you involved in any kind of collectibles? It doesn't have to be sports related. It could be any kind of collectibles. Could be antiques. Could be like Grant Taff has all those Indian heads and all the things he does with American Indians. 254-339-1122. Let us know.
So I remember thinking this last summer while I was going through and organizing old baseball card sets and seeing and getting everything in order and kind of cataloging what I had, which is, I'm more or less done with baseball and I'm on to football now, but just going through all that stuff, it was kind of strange to me to think sometimes, and this is before the boom started to happen, but I know the sentiment, because say you get a set done, or all the ones that you have in a book and you're organized, and you're missing, 38 of the 710. Well, that's a hell of a feeling to think that I accidentally got 600 plus of these and I just need 38 more. I'm sure they're out there in the world. And then when you go start looking into that, well, I just need these 38. They're worth 10 cents each, most of them. A couple might be $5-10. And so you start doing that. Then I thought, well, if I had real money to dump away on these things, what would I do to, this is the Ken Griffey Jr. that's worth $1,000, or this is that. And how many people that do have that money that are doing the same thing I'm doing right now because they have nothing else to do are going, I'm going to go buy that because I've got nothing but time and I'm bored out of my mind and I've got the money to burn. And then it happened.
Michael Jordan's game-worn North Carolina Tar Heels basketball jersey sold for $1.38 million on Saturday. The jersey was photo matched to an 82-83 season, the year he won NCAA Player of the Year from Sporting News. The same jersey he wore on the cover of the magazine when he won the award. The sale broke the previous record of Jordan jerseys, also set back in the recent months, October, when a game-worn Bulls jersey worn by Michael Jordan from the 86-87 season sold for $480,000.
He wasn't even that good yet.
No.
Yeah, then.
As the final price tag proves, this jersey is everything any serious collector could possibly want. Carolina jersey was first obtained in 1983. Equipment managers from Stanford and North Carolina swapped player jerseys after the Stanford Invitational at the Maples Pavilion. This is not the first time a jersey has been up for auction. It sold for $63,500 in 1999. So 22 years later, it goes from $63,500 to $1.38 million. Jordan memorabilia, rookie cards, continues to smash records. 2 Fleer PSA 10 rookie cards sold for $738,000 apiece. What's going on?
I told you, people their interest got kicked back up. And then when they start looking and then, I got to have this, there's more people who have, especially from mine and Craig's generation where when we were kids, it was a big deal. And so you kept them because you thought it was going to be something, and then you was going to be worth something. And then the market completely bottomed out and they became essentially worthless, but you kept them because they meant something to you. And now you find out that they might be worth something. And, so
Yeah, and people started having some money that were out of jobs or weren't able to work because of COVID, and all of a sudden you get these checks for, what was it, $1,200 or $1,400 or whatever. But wasn't that supposed to go to what you needed it to go to? I mean, there's no, you must buy groceries with this, or you must, because there's cards sometimes.
Well, there's two phases. Because the stimulus was just a couple of, ultimately, we've all gotten, about maybe $5,000 total bucks if you're a single person in a stimulus check. So through a whole year, that's going to pay rent or whatever that pops in and pops out. But the stimulus money one, if you've been on full unemployment with the extra $300 to $500, $600 that they were giving, depending on where you lived, if your bills were getting paid and all of a sudden by the government and they gave you an extra $1,200. Who's to say they didn't spend it on stuff like that? I think it's more just people who, they couldn't, your hobbies, you can't go out and do this. For a while, the friggin' golf courses were closed. I mean,
no, I know.
So you can't go play golf. You can't go play sports. You can't go to the gym. You can't do all these things. You've pretty much got to be, especially in the major cities that were really, shut down, you've got to be where you live. And then you start
getting online,
doing
whatever you do online.
But what happened? I'll tell you what happened in my house is I started looking around. Well, I need new furniture. I'm tired of this furniture. I'd been not in my house for the most of the time I'd been there, and then all of a sudden we're there every day. We're doing a talk show. I've got all this stuff in my closets that are baseball cards. I start working on it, and the feeling of accomplishment when you finished one, because nothing else was going on, in your free time or social life.
I so wanted Woodrow to just go knock a bunch of those piles over a few times.
Oh, he did.
He did?
That's why I had to move the tables because he would I would put him on the coffee table, which is at his level.
Yeah,
he's got that really long tail. So I'd have stacks on the coffee table, and then I'd come home, or I'd leave and come home, and he would wag his tail and just ruin everything that I'd worked on.
Yeah, that would be frustrating. Now, so I want to know, how did you, if you're in the sports collecting business, I'm going to put this up on Twitter as well, @DavidSmoke. What are you doing now that maybe you weren't very active collecting sports collectibles a year ago? And did COVID have anything to do with it, or just, because you have to bide your time doing something? Armstrong, do you collect? I used to have a few golf balls with some pretty big names. I mean, pretty big names, like Trevino. I still maybe have them somewhere. Gary Player, some Hall of Fame names. Do you have anything you collect in sports at all?
Not really. The only thing is just everywhere I go play a golf course, I try to get a golf ball with the logo.
Ball from the pro shop, right?
Yeah, I gotta get the logo. If I've played there, I gotta have the golf ball with the logo. But that's not really worth anything.
No, but it's still a collectible for you.
Yeah, it's for me. Yeah.
I randomly was going through some golf balls, and I was like, there's a couple of pretty good ones. I mean, there's some pretty nice, but they're just, I don't know if there's a value there. I guess I should just put them in a baggie or Ziploc baggie and leave them there for a while. So you went through some. Did you ever find any that Brent Banksman? I mean,
I think I have a few that would be.
A couple million?
Probably not. No.
Wait a minute. Probably not.
I mean, no.
So the answer wasn't no.
No. I mean, no. That's not no. I have a Shaq rookie card that I'm very interested to see.
Why don't you take it to him?
I probably will.
Why wouldn't you not have already done that?
Well, I mean, part of it is just I'm not even to basketball yet. I've been doing other things.
Do you if you take that Shaq card, you put it in a Ziploc baggie tonight?
Oh, it's in a hard.
Yeah, you go I'm talking about hermetically sealed, and you take that to him. I'm telling you to do.
I have a book of Michael Jordan's. A book.
So like, for example, we had Brent on from Bankston's. So Brent comes in, he thought that's $200, that's $300. Where's that? Is he paying for that? Like if you have 10.
Yeah, but he knows he'll sell it right back. So if he sells it and then he can put it online, he can sell it.
And
right back.
I bet his revenue flow right now is amazing.
Yeah.
And they're on Valley Mills, by the way. It does a great job with Bankston's, no question about it. All right, 5 o'clock hour. Get ready for big Bryce Simpson from Cypress Ranch, committed to Baylor last night. One of the new toys for Eric Mateos, Jeff Grimes and company next year. He's a class of 2022. Jared Sandler on the Rangers, who have piqued my interest. They have piqued my interest. This Garcia guy alone, I think baseball right now has more personalities, young personalities than ever. I'm not saying better players, although Tatis, Acuna, those guys, they're all really. But I'm telling you right now, baseball is fun right now. And I mean, the hitters are starting to say it's just kind of fun. But this Rangers team is 18-18. They may not win 70 games, but they've piqued my interest, and hopefully yours as well. The problem is, some of you told me on Twitter you can't watch them because of Bally Sports. In certain ways, you can't get them. I'm still getting them with my, I guess, subscription or whatever to Spectrum. When we come back, also John McClain at 540 Sic'Em365 Radio.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Sausage wrap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue. Next in line.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness was built to help give you a chance to enjoy elite tennis facilities and also remain fit or reshape your body. Now Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has gone through its own physical changes. There are 7 large flat screens stretched across the main and improved weight room with Wi-Fi available and their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports channels. The beautiful sound of active treadmills and elliptical machines, group exercise classes throughout each day, a new ballet bar for bar classes, a new look lounge and bar with beer and wine with more large flat screens available. Touchless water fountains outside each spacious men's and women's locker rooms, showers, sauna, and whirlpool. Upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts and lessons for adults and juniors. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Also, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. So start today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to Sic'Em365 Radio.
And Mayers for the win for Baylor from 30. Good hold, good snap. The kick is through. Baylor breaks its losing streak. And it's a yellow rush on the field, 32-31.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Tom Albers, staying in touch with you and your money through these difficult and changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Here's David Smoke and Paul Catalina.
I'm still trying to digest and understand how incredibly positive John Gallagher is, the Hartford basketball coach, and what they're facing from the administration. If you did not hear John Gallagher, it's up, it's in the section, it's the premium section, it's in our podcast section, it's on Twitter timelines. He was phenomenal. And Bryce Simpson, Cypress Ranch offensive lineman, joins us. He committed to Baylor yesterday evening. He joins us. Paul Catalina, David Smoke on Sic'Em365 Radio. All right, big guy. I have spoken with your mother, and we have some really good stuff about you.
All right.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Bryce Simpson with us. First of all, let's discuss the commitment. Why last night? Why Baylor?
I kid you not. When I woke up, the first thing I thought about was I need to get today. And then one of my teammates, his name is Chewy, he had texted me right after that and asked me if I was going to come today. And it just felt like it was a fun to do it. So I just went my gut. I just went and got it out the way.
Is it a relief that you don't have to worry about that anymore? It's taken off your plate?
It was a big relief.
Okay, we got a bad connection, Paul. I'm not sure if it's a speakerphone or what. We want to make sure we get Bryce and we can hear. I didn't get to hear much of the first part. But Bryce Simpson joins us from Cypress Ranch High School, and he had a list: Colorado, East Carolina, Houston, Ole Miss, Utah, among others. We think better now?
Oh,
you think?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, you there, Bryce?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, if you don't mind, let's start over again. I want to make sure everyone hears you because I've heard your personality. So I asked you why last night and also why Baylor.
Okay, because I had woke up and the first thing I had thought about was that I needed to commit to Baylor. And a sign for me was my teammate, Chippy. He texted me right after that and asked me if I was going to commit. So I just went ahead and went my gut, and I got it out the way. And the reason that I chose Baylor is because it just felt like home. It felt like I was a part of the family. They would call me, text me almost every day just to check up on me. It wasn't really about football, and that's like big for me. So.
How much of a relief is that you don't have to make it anymore? Like, you don't have to make that choice. You don't have to take it through the season.
It's a big relief. Now I can just play ball.
Yeah, and you play pretty well. There's no question about it. You have a nice offer list. I asked your mom, do you feel like that you're, even with what you've done, that you're somewhat underrated or under the radar?
Yeah, I feel like I'm under the radar. I've always felt like that.
You started playing football when you were 5 years old. You were 5. Yeah. Why didn't you play when you were 4?
Because I didn't want to play flag. I wanted to get straight to hitting.
You didn't want to play flag football because you wanted to hit somebody.
So I imagine coaches really like that about you.
Yes, sir.
All right. What do you have, practice? It stinks for everybody most of the time, but when you get to do those drills in practice, do you get a little antsy when you get to just line up and lay somebody out?
Yes, sir. Especially when we go team, and they call it play for me to pull. I love pulling because it's unexpected.
Baylor's offensive line coach is Eric Mateos, and the offensive coordinator is Jeff Grimes, who was an offensive line coach, and they played, obviously, that position. How much of what they're trying to do with this wide zone blocking scheme fits what you can do with your athleticism and the size you bring to the table?
What they run is basically what we run at my school right now. So I believe I fit in like a shoe. I fit in good.
Well, they're trying to get that second level, right? Don't you have the quickness and athleticism to do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, when your mother, when Lakosha gets on you, what is something that makes you crack up the most or makes you nervous? When she says your full name, Bryce Ray Simpson, or she says she's going to take you out by the knees, at your knees?
It'll probably be when she says my full name. Because when she says she could take me out by my knees, it's like a joke. That's a joking way. But when she calls my full name, I know it's business.
When she says Bryce Ray Simpson, you know you're in trouble, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you freeze? Yeah. Do you freeze up? What happens?
I freeze up for a couple of seconds. I'm like, oh, what did I do? I think back to if I did anything wrong, did I do anything good? I just hope I'm not in trouble.
Hey, what was yesterday? What big special occasion was yesterday?
Mother's Day.
Why did you not make up your room? Why did you not clean up your room on Mother's Day?
Wow, that's a low blow.
Bad.
Smokey.
No, I'm telling you. We got straight to the truth here.
Oh, man. What you clean up? I ain't cleaned up my room.
Well, I said, what happens when you get upset with Bryce? And she says the full name. That means he knows I mean business. I said, when was the last time you did that? She goes, yesterday, because he didn't clean up his room well enough on Mother's Day.
Man, that made me sound bad, but I don't know why I didn't clean up.
I don't know where you are or when you're going to get home, but make sure you go straight to the room and get that done. Okay, Bryce?
Yes, sir. I think I did clean up because I was getting her Mother's Day gift ready.
Yeah, you better.
I wrote a handwritten letter.
Oh, that's cool.
So it kind of made up for it.
There you go. That's very considerate.
That might have helped a little bit. That's really cool.
Bryce, I'm on your side, buddy. I got your back.
I'm absolutely just coming down with the bad stuff here. Now, tell me about your little brother. How much does he look up for you? I know he's younger. Tell me about him a little bit. And does he play football? How much do you teach him about life?
Well, he plays football, and all he talking about after I got that first offer, he talked about it. He said, he's gonna get offers like me. He's gonna play online like me and all this. So I try to teach him a little something here and there, but he's kind of a tall, lanky dude. So I don't think he's gonna be playing online for a while. He's more like a wide receiver.
Oh, so he's got some. Not that you don't, but he's got some. Does he have a little speed or some skills there?
Yeah, he can catch. He can catch. And he's pretty fast.
Well, that's good. Now, how much have you had a chance? And I know that it's kind of touch and go. How much have you had a chance to visit with Eric Mateos? I know Sean Bell's involved. Coach Grimes. Your conversation with Baylor coaches.
It's not every day. It's every other day. Talking to them, just checking up on each other and all that. So it's really often.
Bryce, do you have an NFL player you like to model your game after that you watch on the offensive line?
I did it for a while, but when I got to high school, my freshman line coach, he told me that I played like Flozell Adams. Ooh. So I looked him up, and that's probably the person that I'll model my game around.
How tall are you?
I'm around 6'5.5".
Yeah, that's about just
was he 6'7"?
6'7", so yeah, he's right there.
That's a huge man, Flozell Adams. That's a big man.
Yeah.
Hey, Bryce, when you move here, do you mind if I call you to get stuff down out of my hot top drawers? I'm 5'6.5", 5'7". Yeah. My life is constantly disappointed that I put that jar just too far away from me.
You're who?
What? I said my life is constant disappointment.
I thought you said something else. I thought you said
my life is constant disappointment that I just put that jar too far away.
I thought you forgot to let us know something.
No, I said constant disappointment. You gotta get your hearing checked.
I need to because I'm still nervous about bringing all that up to Bryce. All right. Do you realize how big he was when he was born? 8 pounds, 14 ounces, and 2 weeks early.
He was ready to be here.
Yeah, you were. You were ready to get out and face the world, weren't you, Bryce?
Yes, sir.
How much did your mother tell you about the fact that you had to come out early? Literally, you had to come out early. And how big a boy were you?
She always tells me like She told me I came out early, but she wanted to say like I was getting too big. She couldn't handle it, so she had to take me. She had to get me out of there as soon as possible.
Yeah, a couple weeks early. It was that doctor said they were worried about you getting any bigger, and they had to take you. All right, and this was with all due respect to those who are on the roster and who's being recruited. Baylor needs offensive linemen. They need them. They need more of them. They need like 8 of you. How much has that come into conversation with what you're paying attention to and what you're also being told by the coaching staff at Baylor?
That's a big part, because when I get there, I would love to start. I know I'm gonna still have to work for everything, but I would love to start my freshman year and get in there, get some action, or whatever.
Yeah, and you are you now going to be kind of a ringleader on getting other offensive linemen to join this class?
Yes, sir.
How much conversations do you have with other players?
I have a lot of conversations. I have a lot of conversations with teammates at my school, and it's this one kid. His name is Austin Porter. He's 2023. I talked to him today, and we were talking about Baylor and all that. And he told me, I was telling him how like they always talk about him and stuff like that. They think about offering him, and then he told me if they offer that he might commit. So as soon as I heard that, I took the commitment.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people excited about the fact you have OL next to your name, not just Bryce Simpson, who you are as a player, but also offensive line. It's great talking to you. Can you try to, if you don't mind, to wrap it up by describing whether you can really dance or not?
Oh, no, I cannot dance. I cannot dance at all. I always try, but I cannot dance. I have no rhythm.
No rhythm?
I always ask my mom, why don't I have rhythm? And she just says that it didn't come from her.
It did not come from her. Oh, my goodness. All right, now I'm not trying to tell you what to do because you're a lot bigger than I am, but you need to go home and clean up your room, okay? I want to let you know.
On that.
Yeah, and text me when you're done, okay? You have my number. I want to make sure you get that done. Bryce, great to have you on the show. Good luck. Thanks for your time. You too, buddy. That's Bryce Simpson, Cypress Ranch High School. He didn't want to play football. He wanted to play football, but he didn't want to play football until he was 5 because at 4 you had to play flag football, and he didn't want any piece of that.
That's a lot of decision making for a 4-year-old.
Oh, he's going to go home and his mom is going to be giggling the whole time because of all the things.
I'll just say, especially for a modern 4-year-old, I remember when my nephews were 4 and it was, the decision was Cheerios or Frosted Flakes. I mean,
Did they struggle with those very often?
No. But
that was the only decision.
Nobody has to say no, I don't want to do that because I would like to hit somebody.
Yeah.
For a 4-year-old, that's a well thought out argument.
No, Uncle Paulie, I'd rather go work on the stock market.
Yeah. That makes me much more impressed with him. By the way, real quick, Smokey. So I have an update on the Houston Tiger story.
Okay.
An update. The Tigers owner is still on the run.
Is the Tiger with him?
You would think so. And he is out on bond for a murder he committed he was accused of in Fort Bend County. Yeah.
So because of the fact he had a tiger roaming around in his house who got loose out in the front yard, he was fine, but now they track him down and he was out on bond for a murder.
Yes. So
that's what happens when you collect tigers behind closed doors.
Well, look, it's shady business. It's not that you can't just go to the tiger store. The large cat.
Do they have a tiger in the Cameron Zoo? Because the Cameron Zoo is a nice zoo. Do they have
I believe they do.
They do?
Yeah.
Like Mufasa the lion, too? Is he in there?
They've got lions and tigers, yeah. There are more. I learned this from the Tiger King show.
You did not watch the Tiger.
I did watch Tiger King. Oh, what else was going on, Smokey? It was the beginning of the pandemic.
That's exactly right.
That same thing happens now. I'd be like, no, screw that. I'm not watching that stupid stuff. But no, I got into Tiger King like everybody did. But there are more tigers in captivity in the U.S. than there are, in India, like where the tigers are from.
Wow.
In the wild, yeah.
I was like walking, you see around here you'll see a bobcat, a fox, right? A cougar.
Oh, and all those I have to go, all right, back up.
Just gotta.
If you could calmly
see a
tiger
I don't want to see a
in
cougar,
your house.
though. Cougars, that's not good either.
See, look, and I learned this from Siegfried and Roy. Look, when Siegfried and Roy were as nice to those tigers as they could possibly be.
And they still killed them, right? Or
yeah,
they
although
them?
I do think those tigers saw some stuff they didn't want to see.
Did they make it?
But, well, no, Roy, I mean, like that tiger in the middle of the show, which I think, like he said, listen.
Do you think that was just part of like a WWE moment and the tiger forgot it was?
No, here's what I think happened. I think that tiger said, listen, if this little German dude makes me disappear one more time, I'm going to bite him.
Yeah.
And then he told the other tiger, say I won't, and then he did it, so.
All right, when we come back, Jared Sandler on the Rangers, they have me peaked. They have my interest. I don't expect them to win more than 70 or 75 games, but I kind of like watching them play. I really do. And Jared Sandler joins us next on Sic'Em365 Radio. Who do I have here, Paul? Alan Samuels. Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Come by, let's be friends. Alan Samuels, your friend in the car business, Loop 340 and Highway 6. Here's what they have in the month of May. The Ram Spotlight Sales Event, the three-peat Motor Trend Truck of the Year, the Ram Truck, back to back to back, top safety pick for trucks named in 2021. Spotlight on the 2021 new Ram 1500 Crew Cab Lone Star Edition with values of $6,750 or up to 0% financing for 72 months. The 2021 Pacifica Hybrid Limited Chrysler version, limited with total values of $6,000 or 0% for 72 months. Here's one of the Jeeps right now with discounts available. The 2021 Cherokee Latitude Plus, up to $5,000 in total values or 0% financing for 84 months. I was talking to AJ, one of the great salesmen over there on the dealership. He's the one that sold me a car almost about a year ago. And I've loved every second I turned that car on and driven it wherever I've gone. Appreciate AJ. He was telling me Mark Vidal dropped by and said hi to him. Great guy. Graduated, of course, on Saturday. He was a part of the show last week. And AJ had a picture with he and Mark Vidal along with some of the others who are there on staff. Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat, Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
It's
time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house-cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasoning, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717, or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to Sic'Em365 Radio.
Have you downloaded the Sic'Em365 Radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play.
Hey, I got pretty good news for you. Remember Taylor Young?
Yes.
Baylor.
A very large picture of him.
All-conference linebacker. Yeah, you got the one where he's drilling Baker Mayfield in that game where they scared the hell out of Oklahoma. We had Phil Bennett on about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he mentioned to me on the phone the night before that Taylor Young, who's been a part of Baylor's staff as a graduate assistant, is now the University of North Texas defensive quality control coach. He's on the staff full-time.
Good deal.
So
he's going to be a really good coach one day. He's very passionate.
Yeah. So I'm going to put that up on the Twitter page. Congratulations, Taylor Young. Great guy. Remember, when they had the coaching change from Bryce to Grove, and then they had Matt Rule, one of the key parts of that was Taylor Young going to stay, and he absolutely stayed. Trayvon Blanchard, who eventually moved on to Texas A&M Commerce, were they going to stay? And they did. And those were the two of the better defensive players at the time, and they both did, and a lot of people also stayed because of those two as well. So we'll hear from Jared Sandler here momentarily. Got a question on the text line about the Rangers. I'll share this with you, Paul. What? No?
No, go ahead. It's pretty harsh. It's pretty harsh, though.
Wow, the 254. Mike is upset with them. They are nothing but a pile of dog crap and have been for several years. No, I'm not, Mike. I'm not.
Waiver wire rejects.
I am not disagreeing with who they have been. I am not doing that. They have struggled. They have been not good at all for about 5 years. They broke my heart. When they lost that series to Toronto so quickly, what was it, 5 years ago? Has it been that long? Yeah, they've struggled. I'm just saying, as a guy that the last couple of years, when it's come to the Rangers, I've had him on as background music as much as anything. Now, last year we didn't have him on much at all because the season was all interrupted. But I have had him on, and this team has got me. I don't know if they'll win 65, 75 games. That's not the point, but they're 18-18. They had an incredible win Saturday night, and they also won last night, or 10-2 against Seattle. We're joined by Jared Sandler. He is part of the Rangers Radio Network and joins us on Sic'Em365 Radio. Jared, I know the Rangers they've struggled. We know the story. We know what the people have gone. Is this team starting to pique the interest of anybody? The Rangers fans, maybe around the DFW airport around the DFW area as well?
I think so, Smokey. And first of all, I appreciate your patience with my schedule. I'm sorry that I kept pushing things back. So thank you very much. And by the way, I texted you and I called you David. I've never once called you David. I thought after I sent that text, it's the most awkward thing. I've never referred to you anything other than Mr. Smoke or Smokey. So never again, David.
That's okay. Yeah, it made me feel like I was your father or something like that. Yeah.
So,
right.
yeah, I think the sentiment, there's a range, right? I think some people maybe disregard the first part you said about 65, 70 wins, and, we're focused on 110 wins now. But I think most people who really kind of understand what's going on really embrace exactly what you said, which is not sure what this is going to look like in September. But right now, this team's a lot of fun to watch, and they are. And, people have asked me why, and I don't know exactly why. My thought going into the year, and I'm sure I said this with you guys because I told anyone who wanted to listen that this team might have a worse record or worse win percentage than last year, but they're going to be more enjoyable to watch. And my thought was, you've got a bunch of young guys and a bunch of guys who have something to prove. Even Joey Gallo, he's not a young guy really anymore, certainly not on this team, but he's got something to prove. And then the veterans you have, Brock Holt and Charlie Culberson, they fully understand and embrace their role. You don't have veterans who think they're more than what they are at this point in their career, or veterans who they're just kind of stuck contractually. They don't want to be a part of a rebuild. Everyone who's here presumably wants to be here, and they like their role. Maybe some guys want to play a little more, but no one is disgruntled. And I don't know if that was my thought going into the year. After watching them, I think that stuff's true. I do think this team plays hard and has that chip on their shoulder because individually they all stand to prove. But I think there are also baseball parts to this. This team isn't an automatic out when it gets to two strikes. Last year, they were the worst two-strike hitting team in the league, and it really wasn't close. This year, they're top 10 in the league in two-strike hitting, and I just think that makes it more enjoyable. They don't walk people. No one likes watching a game filled with the great thing. Hey, if your guy walks, it's a great job, but it's not fun to watch. And when your team is the team issuing the walks, it's even more. And this team has not been very good in that department, really, for the last 5 or 6 years. But they've been really good at not issuing walks. And I think those things really do make a difference. At one point, this team wasn't hitting a ton of home runs, and so they were generating offense in other ways. They're actually now top 5 in the majors in home runs. But I think you get a good mix. They don't rely on the home run ball to generate runs. While they've hit a lot of home runs, it does not make up a huge percentage of their offense. So you see a lot of rallies and a lot of base running and balls in play. And I just think those things in general have combined to make this team a lot more enjoyable to watch.
How excited should we be about Dane Dunning?
Yeah, so I guess what I'd say is if the excitement scale is, hey, this is a future ace, I'd say maybe let's lower the bar a little bit. But if your bar is, hey, the Rangers acquired someone who can pitch start playoff games for them, I think you're on point. I don't know if he's a 1 or a 2 or whatever number we want to assign. But here's the thing: we're now in a world where it used to be your top 4 starters would start playoff games for you, and maybe if your 4th starter was really weak, you would try and just shoehorn in 3 and figure out a way to make it work. But as we saw last year, that's not even really a thing anymore. I mean, the Dodgers won a World Series, and it seemed like every other game they were just going with a bullpen approach. So it's not really a guarantee that your 4 best pitchers would start a playoff game. I think Dane Dunning is good enough and will be good enough to where when the Rangers are back in the playoffs, and he's hopefully still here, that they have confidence in using him as a starter and don't feel like, well, for Dane Dunning's turn in the rotation, we've got to have a bullpen game. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I would characterize what we've seen. And I think his aptitude is really high and his ability to adjust. Yesterday we saw him against a team that is very good at hitting the sinker, and in Dane Dunning, a pitcher who has thrown sinkers more than 55% of the time. We saw him use his slider more than he has in any other start. And what did it result in? Well, a career high in strikeouts. So I think that in Dane Dunning, you've got a guy who's a high IQ pitcher who maybe doesn't have like the Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer electricity, but he does have that intellect that helps him maximize everything he's got in that arm.
So back on December 21st of 2019, John Blake put up on his Twitter feed. The Rangers acquired, is it Adolis Garcia?
Yeah, it's Adolis Garcia.
From the St. Louis Cardinals. Paul, listen to this. For cash considerations, he had a pretty big numbers at AAA Memphis in 2019. They designated somebody else for assignment. When I saw that, I bet I didn't even blink. I bet I did not even register it. I had no idea. But then you start watching this kid play. And I know he's not like a rookie, but he brings an excitement to this team no matter how long it's going to last that I think he's one of the reasons I'm watching him play. He's not Tatis. He's not Acuna. I'm not being stupid here. He's not those guys. But for the Rangers, this guy's giving this team a shot in the arm. Who is he, Jared?
Yeah, I mean, he's a kid from Cuba who, I think all of these kids are success stories, whether they hit, 500 or nothing in the major league, to get out of that horrible culture climate. I hope they're not tapping these phones because then that government might come after me. But, it's a horrible world that they live in there. And for him to get out of it, his older brother, Adonis, was a major leaguer. So he sort of, along with some of the other baseball players, helped pave the way. But he actually went to Japan and played in Japan and then defected afterwards, which is interesting. Played, as you mentioned, with the Cardinals organization. The Rangers got him. And then this past spring, I think it was on February 10th, if I have the date correct, the Rangers designated him for assignment. And you don't designate a guy for assignment if you're, sure that he's going to be an impact player. But I don't think that they just designated him simply because they were done with him. They needed to make room for Mike Foltynewicz. And I think strategically they assessed the rosters around the league and determined that at that point, February 10th, where a lot of rosters, 40-man rosters at least, are completed, there wasn't a team that was going to put him on the 40-man roster. And they guessed right. And so the Rangers were able to keep him. And he had a great spring. And he had a great spring in a way that, some guys have good springs, and you never know for sure, but you can kind of see through some spring training success. But he was doing things differently than he had in the past, or at least his prior spring training. And so we threw out there, hey, this guy might make the team, and, maybe he could contribute a little bit. And he didn't make the team, but he was up pretty shortly thereafter. None of us. No, I got asked this on Twitter today. Did you predict or did you foresee Adolis Garcia having this level of impact? If anyone suggests, and there's some people out there who I think might try and claim that they did, if anyone suggests that they knew that Adolis Garcia was going to be among the major league leaders in home runs and RBIs and be a major league or American League Player of the Week, and we're not even in mid-May, you're absolutely crazy. And you need to be on a lie detector test right away. None of us could have foreseen this. I mean, this is such a great story, Smokey. And I don't know what his future is. Is this a Danny Santana where he has a great year and then we don't hear from him much again? Yeah, that's possible. I mean, these things happen all the time. Those guys are a dime a dozen. Could he maybe he's not even a Danny Santana. Maybe he doesn't even make it through the year as a contributing player. But I'll tell you this guy's got better tools than Danny Santana ever had. And Danny Santana is the comp just because he's the most recent example of that type of guy who just, merges. This guy's got great tools. And my guess, if I had to predict, I don't think he's Nelson Cruz, who's going to 10 years later still be hitting 30-plus home runs a year. I don't think that's necessarily his path. But I do think that this is a guy who is an everyday player, at least right now. The key for him, though, he doesn't walk a lot. And for guys who are sort of new with no skins on the wall, who don't walk a lot, typically that's a sign that says, hey, there are a lot of opportunities for the league to poke holes in what you do because you're not going to demonstrate the patience to deal with bad pitching. And by bad pitching, I mean pitches that aren't in the zone, not bad players on the mound. So he's going to have to, as teams start to pitch him differently, demonstrate that necessary level of patience. It's a tremendously tough hurdle for a lot of hitters to clear, and it's the reason why a lot of these guys never quite make it or stick. If he can do that, though, you've got a guy who he's got the tools to be an impact player, and certainly at minimum an everyday rostered player who will get the chance to get a lot of playing time.
Joey Gallo had seemingly kind of moved past being the pace of strikeouts he's on for right now is pretty high. He's always going to be a guy who strikes out a lot, Jared. But how does he get back to what he was coming into this year, which is someone who had cut that down, gotten the average up, and it started, hitting the ball the other way every so often and not being just completely reliant on hitting it as far as he could?
Yeah, it was interesting because we've seen, in April he was getting on base a ton. He was striking out a lot. I think, with Joey, the key here, if you want to see Joey cut down the strikeouts, he's just got to make more contact in the zone. He is not a guy who strikes out a lot because he swings at everything. I just used that Adolis Garcia example. Adolis Garcia has, he's got a high strikeout rate because he's going to chase. He's going to give you that swing and miss on the pitch in the dirt, right? Joey doesn't do that very often at all. His chase rate is among the lowest, or phrased otherwise, among the best in Major League Baseball. And it's not uncommon for bigger-bodied, hard-swinging guys and longer-limbed guys. He has trouble just making contact in the zone. When he makes contact, it typically goes a long way. But Aaron Judge is a guy like this. But Aaron Judge has improved his ability to make contact. So that's why Aaron Judge is not a 230 hitter, but maybe a 270, 280 hitter. And so that's the next challenge for Joey. And I think he's trying to figure out the right swing to kind of balance the identity, like his true identity. Not to, he doesn't want to change who he is. Joey Gallo becomes a 20 home run a year guy and hits 250. That's not nearly as valuable as hitting 230, but still hitting 35 plus home runs. I know people don't like to hear that, but that's just the reality. So I think he's trying to figure out a way to change the swing a little bit to improve the contact, but not strip him of who he truly is at his core. And I think that's something that he's battling right now. And I just think in general, confidence is a big thing with him. I know it hurt a lot of guys, but there's certain players, in every sport, we know them. They could be 0 for their last whatever, or maybe they haven't made a shot all game, or they just threw 3 straight interceptions, whatever it might be. But we know that between the ears, they don't care about any of that. I think Joey's a guy, he rides the wave of confidence, and he's had a good start to May, and hopefully that's now going to lead to a wave of strong production because I think he is in better spirits with what he's been doing here over the last week or so.
They won 3 out of 4 against the Red Sox, who lead the East. Then they win 3 out of 4 against the Twins, 2 out of 3 against the Mariners. Of course, tomorrow, they have the Sledgehammer Giants, who are 20-13 on the road for a couple of games. Astros coming up this weekend. They could go into a 5 or 6 game losing streak. I'm just telling you, Jared, that 9-8 game Saturday night just kind of got me excited. Not about the fact they're a playoff contender, they're not, but just watching guys just play balls to the wall, so to speak. And I wanted to have you come on and kind of explain who some of these stories are. We appreciate you as always.
Oh, my pleasure, guys. Hey, that Saturday night game, one of the most exciting games that the Rangers have played the last couple of years. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully more of that to come. Thank you, Jared. That's Jared Sandler. Rangers Radio Network does an incredible job with them. Not just the pregame and postgame, but also a long, extended postgame call-in show, and on occasion a part of the broadcast as well. The Hall of Famer Eric Nadel as well. Now, coming up next, Hall of Fame columnist, writer, John McClain, Houston Chronicle, next on Sic'Em365 Radio.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Car has
has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back to Sic'Em365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with John McClain of the Houston Chronicle, brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
All right, John McClain, Houston Chronicle, Hall of Fame writer and columnist, has covered the NFL forever, Waco Trib, and, of course, Baylor University. I'm going to start, John, I'm going to start with you. I told Paul to go first, but I'm going to start with you. Dave Aranda's coming to Houston in about a week or so. Is that right?
Yep, he's coming down here to speak at a Baylor event. John Morris will be the host, and people down here are really excited to see him, hear what he's got in store for his second season.
All right, John, NFL news. Aaron Rodgers, has this thing changed any in your estimation, or is it still eventually he and the Packers will work it out?
I think eventually they'll work it out, Paul. He's got 3 years left on his contract. Why would they trade a quarterback coming off an MVP season who's led them one step short of the Super Bowl the last 2 years? Rodgers still hasn't said anything, just like Deshaun Watson hasn't said anything. It's all about sources close to him, and a lot of people are talking. And ones I pay the most attention to are guys that are closest to him. And I'm not talking about Brett Favre, talking on Sirius. I'm talking about guys, Mark Tauscher, an offensive lineman, John Kuhn, fullback, and those guys seem to think it'll be worked out. Now, he wanted a long-term extension for more money that would basically guarantee he finishes his career there. He wants to play into his 40s like Tom Brady and like Drew Brees just did. So the way he's playing, who's to say he's not? But if they sign him to that extension, they will probably in 2 more years have to trade Jordan Love and get 10 cents on the dollar unless he has to play because Rodgers gets hurt. But you know what? It would not serve any purpose for them to trade him. And because this one can be solved with money and a financial commitment when it comes to the years, unlike Deshaun Watson, where it was never about the money.
John, there's so much negative around the Texans, of course, with whether it was Nick Caserio or whether it was David Culley or it's Deshaun Watson or what was going on with Bill O'Brien, all that stuff. Is it settled down a little bit now where the rookie camp's about to start that can get back to football?
I think that it's settled down a lot. People have resigned themselves to the fact that Texans won't be any good. Everybody thinks they'll have the first pick in the next draft, and they very well could. They have 37 new veterans. I've never seen a team that's going to be turned over at least 70% of the time. We interviewed Caserio today before their annual charity golf tournament, and he mentioned about turning over the team, half the team, and I wanted to say, whoa, you've already turned over a lot more than half the team. They could end up with, I think, 70 to 75% of the roster upheaval, and I've never seen that in my 45 years of covering the NFL. But because the Watson situation has been quiet, the 2 attorneys are not launching broadsides in social media and with the media every week. That's been quiet, and everybody's talked about the draft, but now the rookie minicamp is coming up. It's not like they have high expectations. If this team finishes 1-16, it'll be the worst finish in team history. They finished 2-14 twice, coming off a 4-12 season. But new coach, new GM, new quarterbacks, a lot of new players, bring some excitement. And the single most important objective they have to accomplish this season is finding out if their first draft choice, 3rd-round pick Davis Mills, can play. If he could play and make them think that he can be Russell Wilson or Dak Prescott or Kirk Cousins or Tom Brady, 4 prominent quarterbacks taken after the 2nd round, that could have a huge impact on next year's draft if they did not have to target a quarterback with their first pick.
John, if Deshaun Watson gets taken off the commissioner's exempt list, he's not even on there yet, but I'm just theorizing that's where he's probably going to wind up because this isn't going to get resolved in 2 months. So if he eventually gets taken off of that, does his draft value or his trade value go back up, or does it still stay low because he has this, hanging over his head even if it's resolved?
Paul, I can't say that there aren't teams out there that would not be interested in him based on what's happened. He's still innocent until proven guilty. But knowing the way the NFL works, because Watson's 25, under contract through 2025, coming off a great season in which he set his career best in every stat, without DeAndre Hopkins, without Will Fuller for 5 games, without Randall Cobb for 6. No matter who they put out there, he made them look good. There's going to be interest. 5 teams that just drafted quarterbacks in the first round won't be interested. A team that they better hope is interested, they need to be pulling against Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia. The Eagles have 2 1s. They could have 3 1s if Carson Wentz plays 75% of the time for the Colts. So that would be a team to target because of multiple picks. I think eventually when they trade him, if they get a 1 in 2022 and a 1 in 2023 and maybe a 2 or 3 from a team, then that would be great. But you're not going to get that right now. Yeah,
that's no question. Paul is infatuated with this Tim Tebow story.
Yeah.
And the Jaguars.
No, I'm defeated, John. It finally broke me. He's just never going to go anywhere. It's just going to be there.
Tim Tebow's best job is being an analyst on TV. He's really good on the SEC network. I'm all for people living out their dreams. He wanted to play for the Mets. He banged around the Mets minor league system. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. He's beloved by so many people. And if he thinks that he can play tight end for the Jaguars, a position that people encouraged him to try when he came out of Florida, more power to him. Have a good time. Enjoy yourself, because ultimately he's going to be back on TV.
Why did you shake your hand a little bit when he mentioned?
I'm not as bullish on his TV work, but of course, I don't like anything about him, so
Why? Just because he went to Florida
and beat Florida State? No, not because he went to Florida. He went to Florida and beat Florida State.
Yeah,
that says it all.
There you go. It's awful, John. I got to just call it out. I can't. I just have to.
That's where it started, but it grew so much more after that. It was just fertilized by
that's where it started, and it never would have changed because he beat Florida State, and I get that. I understand the frustration.
And then Smith did, and I love him.
Yeah, no, he didn't. But that's when Florida State was okay. They were okay.
Yeah, well, yeah.
They were good, but they weren't like the.
Right.
Hey, John, what's it right now? What's the temperature in the Astros fandom? I know that they're going to be fine, but what's the temperature in the Astros business world as far as fans?
People are fired up about the Astros for two reasons. They're close to first place. They're over 500. They've had a lot of injuries. Framber Valdez, who was supposed to be one of their top pitchers, Dusty Baker told everybody yesterday he would definitely be back in June. He suffered a broken finger in the first inning of the first preseason game, and they immediately said he was out for the season. And he wanted to get a second opinion. It's a good thing he did, because they said he's going to be back now in June, and I'm guessing they're going to hang around the A's for first place in the AFC West. So because the Rockets are the worst team in the NBA, and the Texans could be the worst team in the NFL, people down here thank God for the Astros, because in 2019, the Rockets were a threat to win the AFC West, or they competed to win the AFC West, and the Texans advanced to the second round of the playoffs, and both of them have gone straight down the toilet. But the Astros are hanging in. They've elevated their capacity a little bit to 25 and change. They've sold out every game on a limited basis, and it's only a matter of time, I think, before they'll be offering every ticket for sale, as the Rangers have done.
All right, we got 30 seconds or more. Do you have any Tigers in your neighborhood? I saw we discussed it. You might.
I might, yeah. And it's not LSU Tigers. We got a tiger on the loose with a guy accused of murder who had him in his house. Now he's in his car, and the police are looking for him. And unfortunately, somebody may have to get that tiger by the tail.
Is it a white Bronco? Is he driving around in a white Bronco?
I think it's a white Jeep, actually. Yeah. So,
John, thank you.
He's in a Jeep. We don't know what it is, though. Thank you, guys, and Sic'Em.
That's a great John McClain with us on Monday this week. He always gets away early.
Yeah, he does.
9 out of 10 times.
Yeah. And I'll say that, that's just driving around on the run for murder with a tiger in you. That is the last chapter of a book that does not end well.
No, that's not going to end well. It could end. The tiger gets frustrated and just paws him to death.
If I gave you those details, there's no way you'd be able to write a story that says, and everyone lived happily ever after.
You couldn't. No, it's not going to happen.
Couldn't do it.
Oh, my goodness. Jason in Fort Worth, there's going to be sports movies about, he's right, about the interview with John Gallagher.
I don't agree with the person who said Scott Bakula. He's 20 years older than John Gallagher, for one. And
Scott Bakula was on Happy Days.
No, Scott Baio was on Happy Days. Scott Bakula was on Quantum Leap.
All right, are we ready for this one? We did not have this one a couple of days last week. Were you
just
here?
One day. Just one day.
Okay.
Just one day.
This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55.
All right, brought to you by Slapsticks Comedy Club, bringing the funny back to Waco. Opening this summer, moving along with construction, but we will have events. We had an event a week and change ago at Rogue Media Network. We're going to have another one on May 29th, so keep following Slapsticks on social media for ticket information there. But in honor of Bob Baffert, top 5 most embarrassing steroid denials.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. All right. Number 5, Ben Johnson, 1988 Olympics.
Yeah.
I mean, just torched everybody.
Yeah, Canadian sprinter.
Yeah, Canadian sprinter. And
this is kind of when it all started.
He was very bullish about, he was very I'm Ben Johnson. Yeah. And then they're like, hey, Ben.
I know who's number 1.
Hey, Ben, pee. And then that was it.
On a horse's haystack and let the horse,
Yeah.
So did you hear what this guy was, what started the urine problem with this horse?
Yeah. So number 4 is Bob Baffert, so we can talk about it. Number 4 is Bob Baffert, who's, I don't know, like I got a veterinarian's going to have to come on. If this is exactly what happened, a veterinarian and a physician are going to have to come on the air and explain to me how a guy pees on a haystack. The horse then eats.
No, but what was what was in the urine?
Yeah, so that guy, and then
cough medicine.
But I mean, how much cough medicine to affect a horse?
Yeah.
Like, I've met some big dudes, but all of them are not
bigger than a horse.
Big as a horse.
Shaq, maybe.
I mean, even like
maybe. Who was the big wrestler?
But how much? The amount of cough medicine he would have had to take for it to affect the horse, as it's already passed through his system. How is the guy able to groom the horse?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. No, I don't understand.
I mean, there's no way.
I'm believing Bob.
You're going to believe it. I mean, there's no way. Number 3, Roger Clemens.
Yeah.
Those steroids weren't for me. They were for my wife. She used them. I told her not to.
How bad is that?
That's a terrible one.
That was one of those, they had to have that discussion before, hey, this is what I'm going to tell everybody. If you love me, you have
but I mean, she's going to go back to her friends, and she's going to say, like
she's not going to be invited to mahjong table or anything like that because of that. Okay.
All right. Number 2, Rafael Palmeiro.
He pointed at the guys, right?
Yeah, pointed at Congress. I've never used steroids.
Yeah. And like a week later.
Nope. You said number 1, of course, Lance Armstrong.
Big time.
Who spent years and convincing the world. He's kind of like Pete Rose. Everybody kind of was always going to be on Lance's side because of his story anyway. And then, they couldn't catch him forever. So it was like, man, either this guy's the most elaborate cheater in the world, or, maybe he's not using steroids. Well, he's the most elaborate cheater in the history of the world. And then he had to go on with Oprah and be like, listen,
anytime you need help or you need a reboot, you go on with Oprah.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. The problem with Oprah is that sometimes you think you need a reboot, but sometimes she's on the other side of that issue, and she'll just take you down.
Yeah, no, just embarrass you. I still always, the Lance Armstrong story is not the 7 Tour de France. It's that the Texas Sports Hall of Fame, year after year, talking to him about being inducted, and there was like no radar. It was not on the radar. I bet if they contacted him now, he would show up in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. But he's off the radar right now, and maybe for quite some time. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Paul. Emma, thank you very much for helping Armstrong get through today's show. Steve Rodriguez, Baylor baseball coach. Nicole Auerbach, theathletic.com. John Gallagher from the neighborhood, Hartford basketball coach. If you didn't hear him, please do. He's worth every second. Jared Sandler, Bryce Simpson, Cy Ranch offensive lineman and committed to Baylor, and also John McClain. Thank you for listening. All of our great sponsors. Back at it tomorrow. And this is Sic'Em365 Radio. Good night.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.